Well, I don't know. Hi, Brian.
Hi,
Hello.
Joe.
Hello. Hi, YouTube. This is a silly little thing that me and my good buddy Brian here. I've known Brian. We're at 30 years now, by the way. I've known you since I was 7.
Getting old.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I had the stupid idea a little while ago. So like, let's rank Linkin Park videos. And Brian, with his ever
Genius.
smarts, was
Yeah.
like, what if we did albums? And I was like, okay, sure.
Yeah, well, because I always it's fun. I think we should probably preface this by making like an album ranking video, but rankings are like kind of stupid as far like it's art and it's, up to the person to interpret. But I just think it's fun to kind of dissect things you like, you like, just to kind of explore it further, think about the things you like and don't like about it. Or not that you don't like, but just kind of like, things that are cool about it. And we have a lot of music tastes in common. But you wanted to start with Linkin Park. I assume that's just because they were so. This first album that we're going to talk about, Hybrid Theory, came out when we were 13, and I don't know, it rocked our world. In all honesty,
I think you first discovered Linkin Park, and I was like kind of half into it a little bit. Because I think you said you saw it on a commercial at night, and it was like a clip of the One Step Closer video where they were flipping around like ninjas.
Yes,
And they had the frosted tips.
And I don't. It's kind of when I was like going re-listening their music and thinking about all this, it was kind of crazy to think how much has changed in music since this album came out. Because I was like, I was trying to think about like, okay, like so. Linkin Park's kind of known for their like "woe is me" lyrics, so it was kind of like perfect for us being 13 young teenagers with all that teenage angst. It hit us hard. But I also was kind of just thinking about like how crazy, because like before the 2000s, like nowadays it's very common that all genres mix together. Like you can go to Lollapalooza and there'll be a rock band, there'll be a rapper, there'll be a DJ, like everything's mixed together. But before the 2000s, it was not like that. Like everyone just had like their scene, like you were into rap, you were into rock, all the concerts were separate. So to have a band, like nu metal in general started to, in the 90s, a lot of bands started to kind of meld different things. But I think kind of Linkin Park and this album and the Hybrid Theory album was kind of like the apex of that, where like for the first time, like all these genres were blended together in a way that was like very cool. And then they started, their Project Revolution tour that had a bunch of different, it was like Snoop Dogg and Korn and Linkin Park and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. So I don't think you can like explain to like, Gen Z or Gen Alpha, like how kind of revolutionary and crazy it was at the time.
And you go a little further back with that too. Like Aerosmith, Run DMC, right? Was that the two?
And Anthrax. Yeah, Run Aerosmith, and I think Anthrax.
Yeah,
they did a tour with like Public Enemy, I think.
So I mean, like, I guess there was a precedence set for it, but not necessarily super mainstream to the point of where Linkin Park was like kind of a phenomenon.
Yeah,
in a way that almost like kind of ended up becoming a household name in a lot of ways. And it started with the debut album, let's say October 24th, 2000. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, we were 13, and yeah, like I said, it rocked our world. Yeah, it was fun.
Before we get rolling, Brian, what are you drinking today?
What am I drinking?
Yeah, what are you drinking right now?
Water.
Oh, okay. Well, I got whiskey.
Why did you? Why? Oh, I was like,
water's good, man. Water's good. Good for you.
Some weed beverage or something.
No, I mean, if you want, sure. I mean, go ahead. Whatever. Okay. Have a Malort on the house.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately of people like visiting Illinois for the first time and doing shots of Malort and stuff. Some people handle it all right.
There was one of my buddies, not to get too off topic, but one of my buddies gave it to one of his friends in LA, and my buddy Gobs, shout out to Gobs, he hates it, but his buddy's like, hey, it's not bad. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it's not like, it's bad, but it's not like, I don't know, it's not like, do you remember when we were in high school, they had, or maybe early college, they released like Harry Potter jelly beans, and some of those were really, really
like
terrible.
dirty dishwater and vomit and
vomit. I think snot was like one of them.
That's still out there. There's still people that do that for fun.
Really?
I put them in the same category as people that like really spicy things, like bowel inflaming spicy things, which I just can't. I'm too old. I can't do that.
So yeah, sorry to disappoint. Just water. Next time maybe I'll.
That's fine. It's fine. And then the other thing is, what have you been listening to lately? Like just to give a good context for what you're into, just like where we're going to be talking about the past love of Linkin Park, but what else have you been listening to lately?
So I learned while making this list that I like my Linkin Park with a lot of electronics, and that's probably because I like electronic music in general. The group Zed's Dead just released a new album, so I've been listening to that on repeat this week. Nice. So it's been fun. Yeah, it's been nice because, I don't know, I kind of fell off with them for the last 5 years or so. I haven't really liked what they've been putting out, but the new album's been amazing. So
hell yeah,
good times.
What have I been listening to? That's a great question, me. It's kind of doing a lot of video game soundtracks. I've been doing that. But also, what else? There's an artist.
Any good soundtrack you've been liking?
I'm going to my favorite songs just to give me a good basis here. A new song from Laura Jane Grace called "Your God," and in parentheses God's Dick. That's great. Nice. Skeleton Witch, I've also discovered kind of on a random, being like, oh, I have a song by Skeleton Witch. That's a cool band name. What is it? And this is like some good ass metal.
I've actually been. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it's fine. Meteora is another one that's a lot of the Toho series, doing a lot of metal covers of that. That's really nice. And
nice.
Ada Rook. Ada Rook.
I've been on a MGMT kick lately because I kind of which is crazy because I love their first two albums, and then like the third album was just like, I mean, I remember like interviews at the time, they were like, we don't want to be like a pop band and just write pop hits, so they got like really abstract and obscure. But like to me, the third album was just like so off the beaten path that like there was nothing to like latch onto. Mm-hmm. So I just hated it so much that I kind of like completely gave up on them. And then I just recently went back and I was like, actually, like since then they've released a couple albums that are like really, really good. And I was kind of mad for like writing them off because of one bad album.
I've had a similar. Well, I haven't had the comeback arc yet for them. Enter Shikari.
Yeah.
Is one where I feel like that one album just like really did it. I was kind of already kind of waning a little bit here and there, but I was like, maybe they'll swing back, and they never got back to the sound that I enjoyed from them.
Yeah, which is we'll definitely have to do a ranking video for them because I I really, 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 really loved them, especially like the first few albums. But I fell off 2 albums after you, where I was like, oh, what is this?
Yeah. All right. Well, anyways, I wanted to get a basis and also mention that I'm drinking some. What am I drinking? Which one is this? This one is a Driftless Glen from Baraboo, Wisconsin. That is the whiskey today.
I was going to ask you too. So how do you want to do this? Are we each ranking them, or we're going to have to agree on
consensus?
The ranking? Mm-hmm. Ooh, okay. All right.
So let's start. Okay, so Hybrid Theory. You mentioned this before when you were talking. Let's go through highs and lows, and I like that. So I will start specifically with my high for this, and I think is just kind of has taken on a life of its own in a way that I think is representative. When you think Linkin Park, whether it's Hybrid Theory or not, you think of In the End.
For sure. That's their biggest hit, for sure. Has like over 1 billion plays on Spotify.
Numb might come close. I didn't realize how fucking popular Numb is, but...
Yeah, Numb is their... when we were making this list, I was actually looking up all the rankings, and yeah, Numb is the second biggest hit. Yeah.
So highs... it's hard for me to think of lows on Hybrid Theory. I think When I look
Same.
through, like the track, like with you's like good, but is it as good as the rest of the tracks on the album? Not so much, but on its own, I still feel like it's one of their best. Like I just,
Yeah, see, for me that like I fucking love With You, and maybe it's because during this like album cycle, this is what they would open with live, and
that's true.
Chester would add this scream when the
Yeah,
song really kicks in, and it was so fucking powerful. It must have just had an impression on me, but it's like still one of my favorite Linkin Park songs to this day.
Points of
Um,
Authority is good. Runaway,
yeah, so
maybe is
that's what I was thinking. For lows, I put Runaway and Forgotten are the two. Now I should say, like, this is an all-time great album in my opinion. Like when people ask name an album with no downsides, no bads, I think of this album a lot of the time.
hmm
It's just hit after hit to me. I mean, it has all the singles are like amazing. Paper Cut, One Step Closer,
yeah,
Crawling, In the End. Even like songs like A Place for My Head are like absolute bangers.
yeah.
I think With You and Pushing Me Away are kind of like underrated songs in Linkin Park discography. But yeah, I guess Runaway is kind of, and I think Chester said in an interview later on that song, I don't know, it kind of, because if you know a lot about Linkin Park, there were demos from like this era,
hmm
and Runaway was actually, it used to be called Stick and Move. I actually liked it better when it was that version. So it almost seemed like maybe a song they had, both that and Forgotten, they had been working on, with different names and stuff. Forgotten used to be called Rhinestone. And I think probably just because they had it for so long and had been working on it, they wanted to like make a, official, well mixed,
Yeah,
version of it. But yeah, that would be kind of be my choice if you accidentally, held a gun to my head and made me decide.
yeah. I would also say Cure for the Itch is maybe not their best instrumental.
Yeah, I would agree. I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, they did better ones later on for sure.
Uh,
So is In the End your favorite song on the album?
no, actually, that's changed. I just think it's a good starting point for the conversation on Hybrid Theory. You have to mention In the End because it's just one of the biggest songs of the 2000s. It
Yeah,
might.
for sure.
We were trying to come up with what song best represents the 2000s, and I thought "Bring Me to Life" and "In the End."
Yeah, Bring Me to Life for sure too. Do you
Uh,
know the story about Bring Me to Life
yeah,
too?
but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, it was just kind of the studio was like, this song needs a rapper. Like they were just like, they were like, what's the singer's name from Evanescence?
Amy Lee.
Amy Lee. Yeah,
Mhm.
Amy Lee. They like went to Amy Lee and was like, you guys should sound more like Linkin Park, and like you should put a rapper on all the songs. Like you need a rapper for the group. And she was like, what? No. Like I love Linkin Park, but we're not like Linkin
Yeah,
Park.
we're not Linkin
And
Park.
so yeah, so it's funny that you brought that up along with In the End, because yeah, it was normal, typical, dumb studio meddling.
I think "Pushing Me Away" is actually my favorite song of the album.
Really?
Yeah, that's always been. I've liked it, and then up until as I've gotten older, I feel like that one really sticks out as just one that, and we'll get to it in a sec. My favorite Linkin Park song in general is the remix for "Pushing Me Away."
Personally, yeah. Which that's definitely one of my favorite. Yeah. Well, okay, maybe I guess we'll talk about it when we get there.
Yeah.
But no, I'm happy to hear you say "Pushing Me Away" because I also love that song. It's never brought up with like great Linkin Park songs, but I do think it's an absolutely amazing song. Fun as hell to play on guitar for those who can play guitar. And yeah, amazing remix. So I'm happy to hear you say that because
Yeah.
not a lot of people bring it up, but I think it's a fantastic song.
It's just good. It hits you with the guitars coming in. Some of Chester's best work on the album, I think.
Yeah, I
That
like.
now I know "Crawling" is probably his best performance, but I do
And
I love "Pushing Me Away."
yeah, I do. Crawling is probably my favorite song on the album, and actually, honestly, probably my favorite Linkin Park song. I I think it's Chester's. I think Chester's probably the best male vocalist of all time, in my opinion. And I think that, like, I point to that song. I mean, they won a Grammy for that song specifically. It was like rock performance, which means like somebody who did a really good performance on the song, and clearly it's like Chester on that song.
Yeah.
But also all the music videos for this album are amazing, and I remember like One Step Closer was the first one I saw, but Crawling I like specifically remember. I think it was like on MTV2 or something at the time, and like late at night, and I was like, holy shit, these guys are cool as hell. Like
I
Chester had this spiked blonde hair and shit, and it was cool.
I remember the One Step Closer video. I think is silly. It's just they got dudes flipping around. That is the most new metal they've ever looked.
For
Like,
sure.
Holy
It's
shit.
like, yeah, for sure. But I love the crawling music. Again, freaking studio meddling. Like the music video is kind of like following this girl who's in an abusive relationship. And the music video kind of ends with like a happy ending where, I don't know, her wounds are healing and she's like smiling and she doesn't have eyeliner on anymore. But I found out later, I guess that's the studio was like, oh, it's too dark. You got to make it be happy at the ending. And it's like, fucking studios, man. I kind of, if we're talking downsides, that's the only thing too is I do. So Don Gilmore was who produced this album, and it was because the studio wanted somebody who, was accustomed to like making rock hits and things. And I do appreciate, especially if you listen to like their demos, he definitely got the most out of Chester in the vocal performance, and I think definitely taught them how to record vocals very well. And it's an absolutely amazing sounding album. So he did a great job, no doubt. But in my personal taste, that sometimes it is maybe the only like negative thing I possibly have to say is it might be like slightly too polished in a way.
Sure, yeah. It sounds expensive.
Yes, and I remember that being a big people who hated Linkin Park at the time. I remember they'd be like, oh, they're studio plants and it's a pop album. And while I disagree, I see where they're coming from as far as like the quality of the work.
A lot of them were swindled by One Step Closer, I feel like, because they were like, One Step Closer is the only good song they have. And it was like, it might be, I guess it's the heaviest on the album, maybe? Besides maybe like...
Yeah, I don't know if Crawling's like heavy, but it's more like ambient, I guess. By Myself is another...
By Myself, yeah.
That one's heavy as shit, and that's another one that I think, like, I don't know, underrated in my opinion. I guess just because there's so many good songs, and, like they can't all be like well known. But
yeah, let's get ranking this. How about that? I think personally, out of one, Hybrid Theory is number one.
Yeah. I think so too.
Out of
it made me think about. There's actually a lot of artists that their first album is their best album, in my opinion, and I think Hybrid Theory is definitely an example of that to me. And I don't know, it just felt like they came out of nowhere, and it was just like this huge, massive hit.
Yeah,
like out of nowhere. I did want to mention, so I think this album in general, so, lyrics kind of, Linkin Park is known for their kind of woe is me lyrics, which is perfect when you're a teenager.
Oh, yeah.
But I think some of them still hold up really well. Two of my favorites, though, just Paper Cut, a song about paranoia, the line at the end, the sun goes down, I feel the light betray me. I'm like, it just hits you so hard, like how fucking paranoid that you think, just the sun going around is like betraying you personally, it's like such a good, and then Points of Authority, forfeit the game before somebody else takes you out of the frame and puts your name to shame. I'll start over. Forfeit the game before somebody else takes you out of the frame, puts your name to shame, cover up your face. You can't run the race. The pace is too fast. You just won't last. That's fun. And then into some guitar hits. It's just fucking great.
Yeah. Lyrics. So here, I should also mention for me, lyrics are always an afterthought for me.
Okay. Yeah.
I listen to the music first for like the first 10 listens of a song typically. Obviously, some points will stick out every once in a while of the theme that I can pick up from it. But you'll notice later as we get into some of the more recent releases, it's typically where I started to fall off, except for one, because I felt like that almost took a back seat. I felt like Hybrid Theory really nailed that, a good instrumentation with the lyrics and vocals. It was it's kind of just like this. Like, okay, so like around the time Limp Bizkit was also big, right?
Right.
And I remember really liking Nookie as we ran around junior high gym class and they played that. I just remember the guitar being a lot of fun and stuff. And then I was like, oh, what the hell's a Nookie?
Yeah.
Like a noogie,
Yeah,
like what you do with your head, like that's a weird thing to do it all for, but okay.
Yeah, that's kind of a good example of like I do really like the music on that song, but the lyrics are kind of like stupid.
So you can
I
take
did,
that cookie. It's just like
yeah, and shove it up your yeah. Oh god, yeah, yeah, what a time. But I don't know. I was thinking about that with Linkin Park too, like with lyrics about like very introspective, kind of depressing lyrics. I do think it is important to that the music kind of matches the energy because as we'll probably get into later, their albums were like the lyrics were like that, but the music didn't match. And when it's kind of like that, it comes off, I don't know, more cheesy than like actually. I mean, I'll admit, like in high school, I struggled with depression, and there were times like I would turn on Linkin, and it would totally, it was like going to a therapist or
yeah.
something. Like it totally helped me on like a very deep level. So. But you're right. But I didn't think about that. You're right. The music kind of has to fit the vibe of what you're singing about.
It was an interesting time too because there was I feel like it was people were calling each other gay as an insult, very much as like the thing at the time.
Anything lame, gay was used in place of lame.
Emotional and stuff like that was gay, and if you put on deodorant, you were gay. Just like shit like that. It was very homophobic, and it was really refreshing. Now it's refreshing to look back on. At the time, you're kind of sifting through a lot of those feelings of being like, well, this is what all the kids around me are saying, but this is, actually sitting down reading these lyrics. Like these are very emotional lyrics. It's refreshing to see that it is men singing about their feelings, right? So like that's a good thing, I think, to be sad and to have these feelings and to be open about it. I don't think was super normal at the time.
No, and honestly, I think they got a lot of shit for it at the time, and I remember like even being a fan of them, you kind of got shit for that, but it's kind of funny, and I think it's a lesson to people to be true to yourself regardless of what's going on at the time, because while they took a lot of shit at the time, now they're timeless, where a lot of new metal bands have fallen off and you don't ever really hear about them. And I think part of what makes their music timeless, besides just being good music, is lyrics that people can relate to and connect to. And hey, men actually have all the range of emotions, not just anger. Are
you telling me the band Saliva is not relevant anymore? I'm just trying to think of some
just snot or some what's like new metal band. But and the other thing I want to bring up about this album that is absolutely amazing is all the artwork in the album. I mean, the Street Soldier that you see right now that's on the cover, like that was people were getting tattoos, cool, it was everything. It was cool as hell. They did a lot of really cool, you don't see it on the cover, but a lot of the artwork had like this like Japanese, Asian inspired like lettering and stuff that was like super cool. I remember the band looked like cool as fuck on the back, and I really liked the whole album art. Kind of had this gray aesthetic, but then had this like bright red CD that I don't know, just kind of made it stand out. And this was actually done. I think it was Mike Shinoda, the rapper lead kind of main songwriter, and then another artist made it. But just absolutely banger of it. Like I think this would be cool. Number one music wise, and number one probably album cover wise.
That's a little closer for me, but but
we'll see. We'll
anytime soon. Because the next one, let's move on to the next album, which was I've just decided to put that after this one, Hybrid Theory EP.
Yes, so
a 6-song EP. When was this actually like released?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, right before, so the band originally didn't have Chester and they were called Zero, and then it kind of became apparent that they needed a better singer, so Chester ended up joining the band. They changed their name to Hybrid Theory, released this EP in late 1999, if I remember correctly, but I think most of us didn't hear it. The band re-released it after Hybrid Theory, the album. They released this EP in 2001, if you were in their fan club. They released this and sent this out. And
hell of an EP.
Oh, dude, another absolute. They were just everything the first 3 years of the band, just everything they touched turned to gold, in my opinion.
I will say,
There's a
I think it's the weakest High Voltage.
High Voltage is the weakest to you?
I think this is the weakest version of High Voltage.
Okay, so you like the B side better?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yes, I like them equally. I was surprised. So for me, the low point on this album is Step Up. But then I went on Spotify and it's the most played song on the EP. So I'm like, all right, well, shows what I know. Like everybody else seems to like it. So, but I do, in relation to Step Up and High Voltage, I do like. There's a couple things that they did on this EP that they never really did again going forward that I liked, that I wish they had come back to. And I really, really like how rap heavy this album is.
It's certainly the most, like, I don't want to say most nu metal, because I feel like there's less. It's more nu metal than Hybrid Theory was, in a way, in my opinion. I feel like Hybrid Theory is more just a hard rock album.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that there's any rap in it. This to me felt like, and it feels grimier in a good way.
Yes,
it feels.
See, that's what
messy.
I was talking about, where the album feels a little more polished. Where I kind of liked. So yeah, I like how this is a rap heavy album. I like how it has that little bit of griminess. I like how with like Carousel and One and Part of Me, Chester has like a bunch of different types of screams he can do. And in this one, it's like a very deep, growly kind of scream. And I feel he always did it a lot live, but I feel like on the albums, they often, probably made the right decision due to great, success, that it was more of his like high-pitched, high screaming.
Yeah.
Where I like the really like low growling on this album that he does. And then one other thing that I really like on this album is not one of my only, but Linkin Park tend to you could definitely tell the rap and pop influence in their music, and that their music got very verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and always kind of fit into like that template. And they were so good at making samples that oftentimes I wish they had a little more rock influence, where they would just let the music ride for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a lot of examples on this album where they kind of just let the samples just play for a little bit, and they don't stick to that rap verse, hard rock chorus quite as much, especially on And One. I love how it's all Chester, straight rock song, and then there's a little breakdown, and then Mike just does a little rap at the end. Like, I love that.
That's a real good rap too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another
real good bridge on that
rap
song.
Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Technique kind of sucks, but it's only 40 seconds, so like, who cares?
Yeah, it's like a 40. I look at it; it's like a little interlude song.
Sure.
But on the flip side, I love the instrumental at the end of Part of Me.
Me too. Yes.
Yeah.
That is better than Cure for the Itch, better than Technique.
Yes. Do you like it better than Sessions?
Probably better than Session. Yeah. I'm actually going to find it.
It is one of my
real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. For those who don't know, so it was a 6-song EP. Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Let's fast forward a little bit.
Yeah, it's such a good mood, kind of. Great way to end an album, too.
Yep. I love hidden tracks. I miss hidden tracks. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about that, too. I just miss, a whole album in general, kind of. It's kind of gone away. I was going to ask you, so how do you feel about the album cover?
It's not my favorite. I think I like the trimmings around it. I like the font. I like the use of like circles and lines at the bottom. I could do without the fetus, I think. Not because I think it's gross. I don't really know where it fits in, I guess.
Babies are gross.
It doesn't evoke, well, yes, but it doesn't really evoke the feeling of the album.
Okay, so it's like softer than what the feeling of the album is, you would say?
Yeah, it's a little more, I don't know, it's... Maybe I'm missing something, but that one never stuck with me.
So did you ever own the physical copy of this?
No.
Okay, so what I do like about it, I love this album cover, but I guess only when you see the backside of it, because again, Mike Shinoda did this. He did this album cover, but then Joe Hahn, the other visual artist in the group, did the backside. and the backside is like the same image, but the baby's like all evil, like it has a snake tongue and like skull and like muscles ripping everywhere, and it's really like morbid and messed up. And to your point, maybe it would have been better to put Joe Hahn's version on the front and Mike Shinoda's on the back. I guess I do like, Being in Utero, their first album, like that kind of all adds up. And I kind of like the duality of like the evil baby with the cool baby, or with the normal baby.
The evil. That is what I think about the Linkin Park. I think of evil babies, actually. So that works.
That's what we were listening to.
Yeah, that's what the church thought we were.
Yeah. But I like how you brought up the High Voltage B-side. It probably is a better version. I like them both equally, but they did end up playing the B-side live, and I think it's just a more popular song in general. There's also a lot of great unreleased music from this time. Like there was the My December, Dedicated. Do you remember that rap song?
I love Dedicated.
Yeah, that's another great song. She Couldn't.
I don't like the chorus.
You can't shake the shock.
No, I don't like the filter on the voice. I think it's kind of corny.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. I know it's High Voltage. Yeah. I like the lyrics of High Voltage. I think the other one, man, this also, we didn't even mention this. They would censor their songs but still swear. Like they'd still write the lyrics in there and they say it, but then they cut it out on the album release, and then you don't get an uncensored version.
It was so weird, especially I remember at the time too. There was like a rumor going around that they were like a Christian rock band because they
a closeted Christian rock band. They don't want you to know, but also, hey, have you heard the good news?
Yeah. But part of the reason was because they didn't have any swears on their first two albums, and then they just did start. Which I never, because they addressed it at the time. They were like, sometimes we think it's lazy to like rely on those words, so we just want. I'm like, I guess, but sometimes those words,
you're still saying them. They're still the songs.
and for better or worse, like sometimes swears it like shows an emotion. Like you add them in if you're feeling extra emotional about something. And, which I think is good for music. And they did do it later on, like starting with Minutes to Midnight. So it was a weird, I don't know if that was a studio thing or like what was going on. It was kind of odd at the time. But
they'd say them live too. Like,
yeah.
Like, but the thing is, if they're so like, well, it's kind of lazy or it's kind of, if it's just bad, well, then why you're still saying it? Like you're still writing the lyrics. Like you didn't think of something else. So. Just put up. Maybe they, what? I will say, maybe they didn't want a parental advisory sticker tampering their art, because sometimes those were permanent, because it was hard to find some of this art without parental advisory later on.
That's very true. Also, another My December, I think, is another great one of their great slow songs, and another awesome song from that era.
Yeah.
All right, so
where does this go?
For me, it's definitely. See, the thing is, if this had been a whole album, it might have been my favorite album by them.
Yeah.
So I do have it very high up.
I don't know that I'm ready to put it above Hybrid Theory.
Okay, especially because it wasn't a full album.
Yeah,
so why don't we put it?
So we're not predicting the number for now. Let's just put it at 2, and then if something changes, we'll move what needs to move.
Perfect.
When Reanimation takes 1.
Yeah.
Well,
so let's talk about Reanimation.
Yeah.
Greatest remix album of all time?
Hard to think of one that's better. You don't get a lot of remix albums as like complete visions, right? Like it's usually like here's a short EP maybe, or like of like 6 remixes of one song. I'm thinking like 9 Inch Nails did that with like a couple of their singles. But as like one complete, like, let's reinterpret this entire album. First of all, if there wasn't any inkling before how, like Mike Shinoda is half Japanese, right?
Right.
And that man loves Gundams. Because that is a Gundam ass Gundam on the cover, and it's fucking sick as hell.
Dude, the art on this album is amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's so like on the original Hybrid Theory, they had the street soldier, kind of running how we saw him running
Mhm.
at you like on the cover. They also had like side portraits and things, and they redid them all. And it's just so good because it's like perfect. It's perfect for a remix album, especially with the album being more electronic. So the soldier kind of got more electronic,
Yeah.
and how they had the bright red CD, they had the bright orange CD with like the honeycomb with like the green themed album. So it's just all so fucking good.
Love the aesthetics. I love the green and orange look. This is personally my favorite Linkin Park album, and it's more of a. I will admit there's nostalgia in there. Do I think it's the best? Probably not. But in terms of my favorite, this is it. This is one I could put on, listen to all the way through every time.
I do think it has aged better than so many other Linkin Park albums. It still sounds amazing to this day. It has, as I mentioned earlier, I love some electronics in my Linkin Park. So it is a very I would put this in like if this was to go in a store, like if we were going back in time and going to a Tower Records, I would almost have this in the rap or electronic section before. It's not a very rock album.
It's not, and I think at my first listen, I was kind of disappointed, specifically in the end. The remix for In the End, but then that really just grew on me, and I really like that. I think the video's kind of dumb, but I think a lot of the videos are weird for this one because they actually did like a video for each one, or at least a visualization for each one.
I loved that though at the time. That I remember was on MTV too, where
Yes,
they had
it was.
you could tell they weren't like high budget music videos, but they were like a little music video for each song. And I love that. I love how it's kind of a rap heavy album. I love all the electronic, like all the reinterpretation of the lyrics are so. There's some that are like I don't really care for the rap on "A Place for My Head." I do think
for sure.
In the End is one of the weaker remixes on the song, especially because it was such a big hit. But like I think the Crawling remix is amazing. I agree with you that the Pushing Me Away remix is probably my favorite on the album and definitely one of my favorite Linkin Park songs.
Yep.
But I think the rap Forgotten's kind of like a very like socially aware kind of.
I like that. I love that.
Kind of.
I love the sound of that. I love how the juxtaposition between that and the original Forgotten is so drastic in a way that I think it's when you first start hearing that song, because we could probably play like the beginning of it real quick, but like you're like, how is this that Forgotten, that same song? Like, are you sure? And it's they got real creative, and it's neat to see. Like, I guess you can maybe place a tempo and time signature with this, but like, it's good.
Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, it's such a good vibe too. Like such a great vibe to this song and this album. And I remember too. I actually liked the music video for that one too. But it was at that time they had not figured out how to make like CGI people run yet. And so it's got that awkward early 2000s kind of running
shake your
in
pants run for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Points of Authority is a great intro to this too.
Yeah, great opening. I love the remix of Crawling, like I said, with you. By Myself is very heavy and like electronic. I would almost say this album kind of, the sound of it, like if you took out all the rapping, kind of is almost industrial. Like there's a lot of drum machine work that I really love on it.
The By Myself featured, I believe, Wayne Static.
Was that right?
Or
I don't even know that.
One of the people from Static X.
Well, that's the interesting thing too here. I'll look it up real quick, but that's one of the interesting things about this album is that like almost every song is featuring other people too, which I dug at the time.
I think the Cure for the Itch remix, I actually think I like this Cure for the Itch better than Hybrid Theories.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It says By Myself, Josh Abraham and Mike Shinoda. I don't know if Josh Abraham is Wayne Static's real name.
I don't think that's who that is, but...
Yeah. But yeah, especially like, I didn't know it at the time because I didn't really get into rap till later on, but this album also has like a shit ton of like amazing rappers who are very famous in their own right. So that was pretty cool.
I think the dude from Jurassic 5 is in the End remix. Is that who that is? Or is that Forgotten? I forgot.
I think that's Forgotten. Or is that? I don't know. See, or Charlie Tuna's Forgotten.
Yeah.
Cutmaster Kurt in the End. Yeah. Yeah, so
Motion
great.
Man.
What so
Mhm.
so what so since this is your favorite Linkin Park album, does it have any downsides to you?
Oh, for sure.
Wh-
High Voltage. High Voltage is a bad track.
okay,
That being
me
said,
too.
Executioner style fucking rules. And I don't even, I'm not counting like the in between tracks, those like 20, 30 second, and those don't really, those are just like, I actually really like
Right.
that. It
Me
inspired me
too.
to do a lot of things when I was making people mix CDs. I was like, what if I do like a little like story thing going on through it? And that's because of this. That's because of this album.
Yeah, that's a classic like rap album thing, and I love it in here. And kind of wish they had done it a little more in the future. But yeah, you're right. Those are like they're little interludes, so
Yeah.
it's nothing special. But I do like them in the album. But yeah, High Voltage. So I was like, why do I? I really I always skip it when I listen to the album, and it's because it's got this. Can you play the intro? There's like this bell.
Yeah.
It's a keyboard. It's a keyboard sound, but it just sounds like a bell, and it goes through the whole.
Bring, 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 bring. Yeah.
Yes, and it goes through the whole song, and it never relents. So I'm like, this is like a form of like Chinese torture or something. Like, I feel like if they had just like mixed it lower during the chorus or something to give you a little break from it, it wouldn't have been as bad. But yeah, that's definitely the low point for me. I also I was
In the context of the album, I think I really like it though. Honestly, like in the mix of everything, I'll if I'm listening to the vinyl, I'm gonna listen to that song still, because
You're
I
right.
feel like it fits everything that they have going for it. And who's the man in your hand over the man? This is also
Yeah.
really good too. Like I love.
You're right. You're right. I when I listen to it, I usually don't skip it, but if I did, that's my. I also you mentioned you were a little disappointed in the end at the
Yep.
time.
Mhm.
I still kind of feel that way about My December. Not that the remix is bad, but the original just had this like haunting kind of
Sure.
sadness to it that I don't feel is replicated on the remix. It almost feels like the remix is almost more a song you would listen to during the summer on the beach. So like the music doesn't really fit the
Yeah. Let me.
yeah. Doesn't really fit like the mood of the lyrics, I guess, that we were talking about before.
I always did picture snow in this, but I get what you're saying. In the original, it is definitely more of a haunting vibe on the original. Let me see if I could find the original, because you get it right at the beginning, anyways.
Yeah, it sounds like.
It's the kind of echoing piano and
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's sad song. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But no, yeah, Reanimation, I think people who are new to Linkin Park, like if you have not listened to this album, definitely go check it out because it is absolutely amazing. And I don't have it, so you have it number one. I wouldn't have it above Hybrid Theory, the original, and maybe that's nostalgia,
That's fun.
but
No,
I would definitely have it, top five for me. So wherever you want to, if you want to put it above or below the EP, that's up to you. I kind of think the EP and Reanimation are kind of on the same level to me. So
Sure.
whatever, if you want to put it two.
I'm gonna give it the advantage because I think it's a. If EP again was a full album, then this would be a different conversation. But the fact that it stops short at basically 5 tracks, because Technique is like barely a track.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the instrumental at the end makes it up. So 6 tracks either way. There's a lot of untapped potential in there, which you could say they moved over to the actual Hybrid Theory release. But I personally, I'm going to put that above EP. I would say number 2 for now.
Sounds good. I can totally see why, and it's definitely more fun material to work with.
Pushing Me Away, that remix is still, if I were to make a top 5 songs of my own, that would be in it for sure.
Dude, I was thinking about, so yes, absolutely banger of a song. I'm happy. It was like the only song that they played from Reanimation live. And I remember, I think we talked about at the time, like how excited we were, like of all the songs, they chose this one, like how grateful we were that they picked our favorite song. And I also remember I liked it so much I don't know if people can remember this. AOL Messenger was like the only, that was like the online
Aim,
chatting
baby.
platform at the time. Yeah. And you could put like your away message, you could make your away message whatever you wanted. And I remember I did lyrics from Pushing Me Away, but my grandma, she didn't really know what an away message was. So my grandma messaged me. I remember she's like, "Are you okay?
Is everything
fine?"
okay,
like,
Bray?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, everything's fine. It's just a lyric.
The thing I'll say about Pushing Me Away, because it carries over from my love of Pushing Me Away on Hybrid Theory, but also this, speaking of Saliva, that's got the singer from Saliva in there, Steven Richards.
I thought he was the singer from Taproot.
Is it Taproot? You sure it's not Saliva?
Yeah, no, it's Taproot.
Okay, well then Taproot.
Yeah.
But it works. I don't know.
Yeah, he does a great job. Well, that's what he actually I don't know. They did a good job. I guess mostly like Mike Shinoda was like the main driver behind this album, and he did most of it. But he did a great job picking vocalists to go, because him and Chester combined so well on this song. I think Aaron Lewis from Stained and Chester combined so well on the Crawling remix.
Jonathan Davis for One Step Closer was perfect.
Yeah, so hats off to Mike Shinoda or whoever else was deciding on vocalists, because they really hit it out of the park.
They did incorporate some Reanimation here and there for their live show for a while after this, because I do remember at the beginning of Crawling would typically have the violins. One Step Closer would have the bridge, I think. And then
there's like little 16th notes in my December and One Step Closer. I mean, that they kind of emphasized live, and it sounds so good. Linkin Park is so good at making like sample sounds and stuff.
And then With You, they would start With You like they do on Reanimation, which may be a carryover from typically how he would start it before, but that's not how they started on Hybrid Theory.
Yeah, I think that's what must have happened. Is Chester started doing it live. They really liked it. Yeah. Oh, such a good scream, dude. So they must have liked it live, so he added it on the remix album.
It's very good.
Yeah. So fucking good.
All right. Next up, a little album called Meteora.
So I'm interested, because when they released the 20th anniversary, there was a lot of people making react videos on YouTube, and a lot of people said that this was their favorite album by Linkin Park.
Sure.
What are your thoughts?
I love Meteora. I really do love Meteora. I have a specific memory of you getting it from, I think, Best Buy?
It was either Best Buy or Tower Records.
Yeah, and you coming over and you using my parents' 5 CD changer and speakers that are now actually being used for my vinyl to play it. And we played it loud, and it was good. My first memory of Meteora, though, was actually in driver's ed. I was driving, and on the radio, it was Somewhere I Belong. And that was the first time I ever heard Somewhere I Belong. And I was excited because I was into Linkin Park from Reanimation, Hybrid Theory, more because of Reanimation, which, by the way, real quick, I remember I basically stole your CD while I went with your family to Missouri. And I remember listening to that entire album in the bedroom alone. I just remember on vacation. And
hey, we're real fans here, all right?
Yeah. But then Meteora, Meteora has more of a, maybe because we were into it longer, because after Meteora, there's a little bit of a drought.
Yeah.
So we were into it longer, which meant we got to explore it more. And I think we got to play it a lot too, because me and Brian here would learn the tracks. I had my cousin's keyboard that I would learn like some of the piano and string parts with, or synthesizer parts. And Brian learned it on guitar. We were playing in his basement really loud, and it was a lot of fun. We also did a music video for Faint, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I think this album, because it was how most are in like that hard plastic, clear plastic. This was just like straight paper, basically. And I think it's the most beat to shit album
Oh, yeah,
I
for
have.
sure.
Like, it looks rough. And it's just a testament to how much we listen to it, I guess. I have a similar memory with Somewhere I Belong. Because it had been kind of a while, you know, it'd been 3 years since Hybrid
Mhm.
Theory came out, and I was such a huge fan. I remember they released Somewhere I Belong on their website, and I was on, you know, it was back at the time where there was only one computer for the family, there was no laptops or anything. So I remember I was on the computer listening to Somewhere I Belong over and over and over again, and finally I just hear my mom from the other room, all right, that's enough. um, it,
Yeah. Yeah.
this album, I don't know. This is going to be a super hard one for me to rank or was hard for me to rank because the nostalgia for it is off the
Yeah.
charts. In a lot of ways, I do think of it as Hybrid Theory 2. Like,
Sure.
it definitely has same production, same amazing production, very similar sound. But for some reason, I don't go back now in, 2025. Geez, what year is it? um, I don't go back and listen to it that much. So I don't know if that's because we beat it to death at the time,
I'll say,
or
like, I stopped listening to it for a while, and then once I heard Don't Stay Again, I was like, oh, fuck, yeah, Meteora, dude!
yeah.
I think the lows on Meteora are lower than Hybrid Theory, is the
See
thing.
that? See, that's where I was when I was listening, when I re-listened to it when we were doing this. I think I always liked, because a lot of people said that Meteor is their favorite. They like it better than Hybrid Theory. But I think I have Hybrid Theory higher because to me, the hits on Hybrid Theory are better than the hits on Meteora. Like, I like Crawling in the End, One Step Closer better than Somewhere I Belong, Faint, Numb. And I like the deep tracks on Hybrid Theory better than the deep tracks
Mm-hmm.
on Meteora. Like, I don't know, for me, so like the low points for me on this album are Hit the Floor and
Mm-hmm. Me
Nobody's
too.
Listening.
Yep, me too. Yep, I was
Yeah.
gonna mention those two as, like, probably the low points. I think Easier to Run's kind of lame, too.
Yeah, I agree. Those were the three that I had in mind too. So I'm like, I think all like By Myself, Forgotten Runaway are much better than those songs.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think you like the singles from Meteora better than Hybrid Theory?
There's some. I'm looking at the track list here. Don't Stay is an amazing opener.
Yeah.
I think I like Paper Cut. The thing is, you could correlate a lot of similarities between even like the structure of the album.
Yeah, for sure.
I love, like, the older I got, the more I loved Lying From You. I think Somewhere I
Great.
Belong stayed exactly where it was when it released, which is like, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, agreed. Line
Faint,
from You, great samples on that song.
Faint might be my favorite song out of both albums, Hybrid Theory and Meteor.
Okay. So Faint, I'll say, I remember at the time I don't remember his name, but there was a kid we went to high school with, and he was really into like ska music, and he hated Linkin Park, and he would always make fun of me for liking them. But then I remember one time in gym class, he comes up and he was like, "All right, actually, that bridge to Faint, that's pretty fucking cool."
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Even the music video, as simple as it was fucking rad, dude.
Dude, so that was one of the positives for me. I love most of the music videos on this album are great. Specifically, Breaking the Habit.
Yes.
In my opinion, one of the all-time great music videos. And then also, again, just like Hybrid Theory, very strong samples and everything. But what I noticed on this album, all the bridges, in my opinion, are like amazing and like the best part of the song. Like, go down the list: Don't Stay, Somewhere I Belong, Lying From You, Faint, just Figure .09.
Yep.
Like, pretty much my favorite parts of the songs on almost all the songs on the album are the bridges from the inside.
Sure, yeah.
Great bridge. So, like, I don't know, whatever. I guess because they were trying to just build up the energy of the songs, but it worked on this album. The bridges are amazing.
I think, God, I'm looking at the stretch of songs. Faint, Figure .09, Breaking the Habit, and From the Inside. That stretch of songs is so strong. And then there's nobody that's listening, which is kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I think they were like so excited about that Japanese flute. They're like, we got to make a song out of this. But
it's okay.
It's kind of a dud.
It's okay.
Well,
it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
compared to some of the later songs that we're gonna talk about here, Nobody's Listening is actually pretty high up my tier list of all Linkin Park songs compared to that. But
that's true.
Not to preamble of like what I think of later Linkin Park. I think there's a lot of good stuff there, but I just also think there's a lot of misses. But Nobody's Listening is
for
maybe the
sure.
weakest track on this
Yeah.
album.
Session is a really good instrumental. I
Best,
find it odd. It was the
yeah.
only song that won a Grammy, so that was kind of weird, but
I have
it's a good instrumental.
I have fond memories of Session because I made a music video for it with the footage from Metroid Prime, and I wish I could find that music video because I like that a lot.
How do you, how do you feel about? I guess that's maybe something. I like the lyrics on Hybrid Theory a lot better too. I something to me, honestly, this album. So it's hard for me to say because when I was 15 or 16 or whatever, and this album came out, I loved the lyrics. Again, very therapeutic for me. So it's hard to say now as a 37-year-old adult. But the lyrics do feel very generic. Woe is me. Listening to it now, where Hybrid Theory, I kind of liked. There was more themes, like Paper Cut was about paranoia. With You was kind of like a relationship track, where like pretty much every song on this album is just kind of general woe is me, no real like focus, in my opinion. So,
yeah. Figure .09 is a pretty good. I think has some focus to it of like.
Breaking the Habit is a good one, right?
Yeah.
Like drug addiction.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like that's a good one. That I love the lyrics.
I mean,
and it's really.
I don't mind them being vague. I don't mind. I mean, Numb also is kind of similar to Figure .09, right? Like it's in somebody's like kind of in somebody's shadow, and you.
Okay, yeah, I guess that's true too.
Easier.
I don't know.
I mean, I get what you're saying though. I feel like I don't know. Breaking the Habit's such a fucking banger, dude. I'm just looking at this
so
list
good.
here.
It's
I
so
remember
good. Yeah.
as a young lad who was into like orchestral stuff at the time too, Linkin Park having like a string section, I was like, fuck, dude.
I'll be honest too, I was never Breaking the Habit like turned me on to anime. Like I was never really into it at all, to almost to the point where like I wouldn't watch stuff because I didn't like how it looked. But I don't know, something about Breaking Habit, it just made it like click in my brain, and I'm like, oh, this is actually awesome.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
Yeah. It was really well done too. That music video fucking slaps. So it's from the Inside one, which is just kind of like a riot, but it's neat.
Yeah, you're right. Faint is a super simple music video, but also like very effective, very cool music video. How do you feel about the album art?
I like I think it fits. It's not my favorite. I love the colors, or the
like that goldish
monotone, brown. And that tone being gold. Yeah, it's a neat theme. And then the back of it's like blue. Or was the box that it came in for that like special edition blue? Was that what it was?
There were two different kinds. Yeah, the deluxe edition was blue, but I agree. I do like the gold one better.
Yeah.
This I kind of did a flip on. At the time, I hated it. I remember being so mad about this album cover because I'm like, you have two amazing artists in the group, and you just take a picture of a guy spray painting some shit.
And you have the art that they're making in the book. Or on the back, I forget, and it's awesome, and
it is, yes.
But Meteora was about like the rise of that, right? I think was kind of the idea. There's a meteoric rise, and
I think
no, I could be
actually, no, yeah. Actually, what it was, there's like some architecture building. I think I want to say Greece, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. But it's like a big architect. It's like a mansion was built on like the side of a mountain and just looks very like momentous and crazy. But I remember them saying about the album cover, they liked like the whole concept of the album was like art in progress, and like you usually only see art as a finished progress.
Okay, so I do remember that correctly, but yeah.
Yeah, and so it's funny because at the time I was like, you have two great artists and then this is what you're done. Like, why? But now looking back on it, I do appreciate it and I do kind of like it, and I do think it kind of has like a quiet, cool... Yeah. Because I do remember too, they used their stage, like the way their stage looked was from like the cool art that they did.
Yes.
So at least they kind of made up for it and had the art kind of front and center. Before we move to the next one, too, I just did want to bring up some unreleased tracks from this era. So there's a demo of Figure .09. I personally actually like it better than the one that was on the album. And do you remember they had it was like a 2-minute guitar song called A.06
Oh yeah.
or A06?
Yep.
Absolute banger. I
It
fucking
is.
love it to this day. And then there's a bunch of unreleased. Sorry, go ahead.
They put out the full version of that too, or the quote unquote full version with the 20th anniversary of this, I think.
Yeah, I could see how, so I'm assuming they didn't put on the album because they couldn't figure out exactly what to do with it. I actually liked it better as a little short kind of intro song than the full version.
Yeah.
But then for me, some also notable unreleased track, there was Fighting Myself, More the Victim, Healing Foot, and then Lost. I don't know if you want to talk about Lost, but when that came out with the music video, when was it? I think it was in like 2003, so 2023 it came out.
Yeah, it was leading up to the 20th anniversary.
And I have never been hit with nostalgia that hard. Like just hearing Chester's voice just definitely did decay over the years just from having to scream.
Sure.
Like they played so many live shows. And I even noticed now going back, I think I remember them talking about when they went on tour to support Hybrid Theory, they did like something insane, like 320 shows that year. So almost like a show a day.
Yeah.
And so his voice definitely just did deteriorate just because I don't think anyone's vocals can handle that. So having this little time capsule of Lost like come back 20 years later after his death and hearing him like as he was in 2003.
Yeah, that you've never heard before. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. That it like brought me back to hearing Linkin Park for the first time. And I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
Like to be sitting on such a banger is just wild to me. Like I can't believe they ever made that decision. But I'm super grateful that they did because like holy nostalgia. It was awesome.
So that I had the same thing for Fighting Myself. I liked Lost a lot. More of the Victim's good. And then
Healing Foot I liked a lot.
Yeah.
There was another one, Resolution. They don't have Chester vocals on it, and I wish they had gotten them because it also sounds like a very cool song.
Was this or was this after, It's Going Down? That was the one with Wayne Static.
Yes. And
when was that released? Was that before Meteora or was that after?
I believe it was 2002, so it was in between. Okay. It must have been like right before. I think it was like pretty close to right before Meteora.
That song fucking rules. That's the.
Oh, it's an amazing song.
Executioners?
Yeah, it was Executioners, Johan, Mike Shinoda, and yeah, that was Wayne Static for sure. And the guitar riff on that. Do you have a clip? Can we play that? Yeah. That guitar riff is the best.
I mean, that's just Points of Authority, right?
No, it's a different riff. Like this. Dude, I miss like riff-based rock from like this era. It's such a good guitar riff. I could see how you would associate that with Points of Authority though, because you can definitely tell it was kind of a chopped up. Like they must have recorded a regular riff and then kind of chopped it up, and because it has that same vibe as Points of Authority for sure. That's funny. I never thought about that, but you're totally right.
Where would you put Meteora?
I would have it last on the list of what we have right now, but it'll still probably end up high.
Yeah.
What would you have it? Do you like it better than Hybrid Theory EP?
No, I think I agree with you. Although, yeah,
it's kind of hard to put it that low because it's so good. But
yeah, I mean, Hybrid Theory EP is really fucking strong all the way through. Besides Technique, and again, that's only 40 seconds and barely a thing. That could have been the trail end of another track. And
yeah, definitely.
No one would have batted an eye.
Apparently, it was a full-length song at one point, but they didn't really. I guess they were having trouble like putting lyrics to it or anything, so they were just kind of like, so they just turned it into like a little interlude.
You must exercise the proper technique.
Yeah. See, I love it.
It's just whatever kind of, I guess. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I miss DJ scratching.
Sure.
Like it had, it really, after nu metal, it really completely fell off the map where like, it's funny, like EDM has become so popular, but they don't even really use it in record EDM scratches. Songs.
Yeah.
I miss
There was something that had, I might be thinking of From Zero might have some record scratches actually.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, okay. I think so. I might have to listen to that again. when we get to that is that's an interesting one. That's a weird one. That's going to be a weird one for us. But
yeah, for sure.
Next up would be my.
Or do you want to skip? Technically, in chronological, Collision Course is the next one.
That's where I'm saying this was the beginning of the Act 2 for me with Linkin Park.
Agreed, 100%. This was the first time that, up until this point, everything that they did was amazing to me, and this was the first time where I was like, I really don't dig this at all.
Now, I'll say it. If they were trying to boost their popularity, it fucking worked. People love Numb Encore. Oh my god.
Yep.
People fucking love Numb Encore. Holy shit.
It's their third most streamed song on Spotify.
But as someone who just came off of Meteora, on a high off Meteora too, and then we got this. I was like, in my mind, so at the time, I remember getting this for Christmas as a stocking stuffer. And it got enough play because there were some neat parts in it. Because I think you got some new recordings of strums, or not strums, of like riffs and stuff.
Yeah,
and that was neat. I didn't much care for Jay-Z at the time. I didn't have the love and respect for Jay-Z. I understand he's a very talented artist. I get it. It wasn't what I was looking for at the time, coming off of Meteora for sure.
I felt the exact same way. I know, Jay-Z, a lot of people have him as like, one of the best rappers of all time. I never got it. I'm not a big fan in general. 99 Problems is my favorite song by him, and I liked the Points of Authority 99 Problems One Step Closer was probably my favorite song on the album. But, I mean, I understand Mike Shinoda being such a huge rap fan and like having the chance to work with Jay-Z. Like, how could you say no? But
sure.
Me personally, Jay-Z's music does not match with Linkin Park's music at all.
No. No.
Jay-Z's more like party rap to me, where like Linkin Park's like introspectual, inner, demon kind of music. And so it didn't.
But mainstream.
Yeah, this was very mainstream. And so this was when the first crack that ever formed in Linkin Park for me, where I was like, it's kind of hard to describe now, especially with how poppy they got later. But like, I remember the first time I went and saw Linkin Park, everybody was dressed in black and piercings and goth and tattoos and stuff, and they did, up to this point, they did have a very like, not underground because they were so popular, but definitely like aggressive side to them.
Hot Topic.
And I know yes, Hot Topic, exactly. And I know they actively didn't want to be, pinned as that. So I understand moving away from it. But yeah, going from that to, which is kind of like the scene that I was in, to like with Jay-Z, like Big Pimpin', like, I don't know, it just didn't mesh well for me. And this was kind of the first time, like, I never listen to this album anymore, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, me neither. Before this came out, though, with the Project Revolution with Linkin Park, with Linkin Park, Snoop Dogg, Korn, Less Than Jake, and The Used
was on there. Yeah,
that was before this came out, right?
Yes.
That was an amazing show, and one I still bring up to this day as like. First of all, Snoop Dogg put on a fucking amazing show. I had zero interest in Snoop Dogg at the time, but I was having a great time watching Snoop Dogg. It was awesome.
I agree 100%. He had a whole band with him. It was amazing. I was like blown away. Well, that's the thing is I wasn't against Linkin Park like doing stuff with like rappers. Obviously, we talked about Reanimation. I loved how Hybrid Theory was like rap heavy. Like I was totally into it. Just Jay-Z as the choice was like, I don't know. There's just so many other rappers I would have rather them done something with.
I would have rather them done like remixes of Meteora with rappers, like they did for Reanimation. I think that would have been another take at Nobody's Listening with somebody else. I think would have been kind of cool.
Agreed. I will say my only real high point from this was it led to, during one of the Grammys, they did Linkin Park they did Numb Encore, and then it went into Yesterday from the Beatles when Paul McCartney came out and sang. And those three songs, Encore, Numb, and Yesterday, all went together very well. Chester sounded amazing. So it's a cool live performance if someone wants to look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So something good came out of it, but I don't know. As far as ranking, you could put it
that's bottom.
At the bottom or towards the bottom.
It's bottom. There's no. There might be one in the future that might get lower than that, but we'll get to that maybe. tonight.
Well, that's why I was saying maybe if you want to move it lower to start.
No, we'll keep it at you know, it's for now. We'll keep it right where it is. I think it is below Meteora. That is for sure. In the chronological rankings, that is, and I think we gave it the amount of time it deserves.
Yeah.
Next up, that one.
Minutes to Midnight. We should have known with the album cover. But
we should have known. We should have. No, because here's the problem with Minutes to Midnight. Because they fucking goad you in with that first track, which is a fucking banger.
Given Up.
It's so good, and even like the instrumental before that's pretty all right. Like, and Given Up is probably the best track on here for me.
Okay.
There's highs and lows on this one, big time.
And you've been pretty consistent about this album from the moment it came out, where you've always said. At the time, I remember, you didn't like it as much as the early stuff, but you always said that it had very high highs and low lows for you.
Yep.
And I agree. I was in a little different. I remember at the time, they were just like hell bent. I've heard someone call this album the Linkin Park Identity Crisis album, and it definitely has that vibe. And you could tell they were just trying so hard to move away from their previous sound. And at the time, I did kind of agree with that switch in that, so this didn't come out, it wasn't until like 2007, right? It was 4 years after Meteora, I think.
2007, which was 2007, yes.
Okay, so and if we're being honest, nu metal kind of really peaked like 1999, like right before Linkin Park even really came out. So by this time, that nu metal sound was dead, like it was beat. For sure, it was a dead horse
for sure.
So I don't like when bands sound the same on every album. Like Metallica fans want every single album to be Master of Puppets. So at the time, I liked the switch, but now having some time to breathe, it's definitely on the lower end of the Linkin Park, discography for me. For me, my two high points are No More Sorrow and In Pieces. I don't know why. In Pieces is like one of the least listened to songs according to Spotify. I don't even know necessarily. It's just it's a breakup song. To me, it's like a great breakup song. I'm not even sure exactly what I love about it, but I love the whole vibe of it. I think it's a very unique song. Like, I don't think any other band could make a song like that. And then No More Sorrow, I just like better than Given Up for some reason. I love
No More Sorrow is another great track on this album for sure.
Yeah, and I love the scream to end the song. It's just like so powerful and just an absolute banger.
I'll never forget. This is way after this is, but I think you may have been opening Barnes Noble at the same time as me, but we had a manager there, Sharon, who put on. I don't think it was like the heavy rock, but I think it was just like general rock. Muzak station, and I remember it was about 10 a.m. and I'm in the children's section.
I remember
shelving books, and No More Sorrow is on, and I just remember shelving like these children's books to the Phase Out History.
I remember that because I remember walking down and there was like some lady and she like noticeably like looked up like what kind of music are they playing at this Barnes and Noble? It was great.
So No More Sorrow is amazing. When I say highs, I say Given Up, Bleed It Out, No More Sorrow, In Pieces, and I'll even throw in Shadow of the Day. I think Shadow of the Day is a good song. I think when I look at this album, I think this should have been 8 tracks, and I would leave out all the rest. What I've Done, Hands Held High, In Between, Valentine's Day, The Little Things Give You Away, and I would replace one of those with Across the Line.
So that's what I was gonna. So we actually talked about this before we started recording, but there are so many good unreleased tracks from this album that I personally on Spotify made my own Minutes to Midnight album, and it's like one of my favorite Linkin Park because you have Across the Line is an absolute banger.
Yep.
Queer Tea
Yeah.
is an absolute banger.
Yep.
Announcement Service Public
Yes.
is my favorite
Yep.
instrumental by them probably. What we don't know, No Roads Left. Pretend to Be is another awesome Linkin Park song for those who hadn't heard it. So many good songs, and actually, there's the Leave Out All the Rest demo is called Fear, and I actually like it better than the album version. And even New Divide came out a little bit after
New
this
Divide,
album.
yeah.
So there's so many good songs from this era. So it's not like they weren't rocking out. It's just the ones that they chose, like Valentine's Day is so weak. In Between is like, what is like
Hands
why?
Held High is
Yeah, kind of yeah.
At
and
least
then I remember
I know they're trying to make a point with it, but like, I don't know.
the lyrics are good, but the song as a song is kind of weak. It's just basically a drum roll in the verse and then like a little gospel chorus.
What I've done is like, what if Linkin Park was U2, man?
So that's how I feel. That's why I didn't like Shadow of the Day, because I was like, all right, you make this you're doing this new thing because you don't, you say that like, you're sick of the old sound, but then you copy U2's sound? Like, how is that any better?
Shadow of the Day and Leave Out All the Rest are honestly interchangeable to me. I just think I like the backing instrumentals on Shadow of the Day better, or samples they use. And
then I can understand that. I mean, it's music, right? So like, why do you like one thing better than the other? It's like hard to say. I like if Valentine's Day was an instrumental, I kind of really like it. I like the guitar riff on it.
Sure. I want to pull up Given Up real quick.
Okay.
Right? It's pretty good. And we'll go to like the bridge maybe.
Oh, that classic 17-second scream.
That's great. And then we go to the next track. What the fuck?
Dude,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude.
It is so funny that you
sucks.
said that.
That sucks.
I remember I listened to this. It must have come out. I was in college. It was my second year. I was still in the dorm that year. And I was with my new roommate and his friend. And we didn't know each other that well yet. And I was like, oh, new Linkin Park album. You guys want to listen to it? While we were like playing Halo 3 or something like that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was a great time to be video gaming as well.
Yeah, and so I put it on and, Given Up, and we're like, oh, fuck yeah, Linkin Park's back. This is great. And then Leave Out All the Rest came on. And I remember, I think his exact words was like, what the fuck happened?
Bleed It Out's a great track. I use it.
Good lyrics on Bleed It Out too.
I use it currently for the intro to my little video game wrestling show I do. And it's a great pumping up. That's great. And then again, Bleed It Out leads into Shadow of the Day, which is like, what are you doing? I'm trying to get into your album.
You're right. It just keeps undercutting.
Put Bleed It Out after Giving Up. And then you can go soft and shit. I don't give a fuck. But
I thought Bleed It Out would be a better opener for the album. Kind of the vibe of it. It's like a rock song, but it's kind of got almost a party vibe to it in a way.
For sure, yeah.
I think I did want to talk about with you what I've done. Is that the worst Linkin Park single? Because Leave Out All the Rest is a single, I guess. But I asked that because that I believe What I've Done is like their third biggest hit. Like it's one of the biggest Linkin Park songs. I'm pretty sure it has over 1 billion views. So it is an extremely, and I mean part of that is because it was on the Transformers soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. I don't like. It's not a bad song, but it doesn't hold up to other classic singles to me.
It's a great chorus. It is a great chorus. Like Chester belting out
What I've Done. Yeah,
best,
you're right.
Like it is a great chorus, and it's really and it's memorable. It's a great single to put out. I wouldn't say it's the worst, especially getting into some of the stuff later. It might be the worst first single besides another album later. But I get why it is.
I mean, I get it too, and it's not a bad song. I listen to it.
Yeah.
I like it. I guess it's one of those things when you like something, but then somebody else like loves it, and you're like, I don't like it that much. It like kind of makes you like it less. And I guess that's just because it's like I feel like a lot of people. It might be in the end, but I feel like a lot of people, probably because of Transformers, know Linkin Park for what I've done, and that kind of bugs me because I'm like, oh, they have so many better. I mean, in my opinion, every song on the first few albums is better than what I've done. But, you know, it is a good song. And the other thing I wanted to mention with you is The Little Things Give You Away. They talked up that song so much.
We're doing like an epic.
Like,
we're doing like an epic song here. It's like 6 minutes.
Yeah, and I was so excited for it. And then when we got it, it was kind of a, you know, big bowl of nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's a very...
It is a bread kind of sandwich. A dud of a song.
Yeah. Do you like toast?
One thing I do want to say about Minutes to Midnight also is like the lead up into Minutes to Midnight. The last thing from Linkin Park, new thing I heard from Linkin Park after Collision Course, and I don't remember if this released before, but it was in the Linkin Park Underground version 6.0, was QWERTY. You mentioned it before. And it's one of my favorite Linkin Park songs.
Me too. Absolute banger.
I was like, oh shit. Is this like what we're going to hear? Is this like what this album's going to be?
Damn, I don't remember that. This came out before Minutes to Midnight?
I believe it did. Did. At least before I listened to it. I remember being very excited because of QWERTY and then getting the rug pull once we got to leave out all the rest. Because Giving Up also gives me the hope of being like, oh, fuck, let's fucking go. And then...
Yeah, QWERTY, such a good song. And then just because I like talking about album art, this album art is terrible. Like, I know they were going for like a minimalism vibe, but like, what is this? Come on.
It's not just the minimalism vibe; it's the outfits too. I think are ridiculous.
It's like, hey, let's dress in business casual
on the beach. Yeah, look out over.
And again, I was like, you have two absolutely amazing artists in the group. Like, you were just too busy making the music. You didn't want to make any visual art. Like, I don't get it.
I think the font work sucks. I think the font on Linkin Park sucks. I don't like it.
I agree.
I think I don't mind black and white, and they use it better in a later one. There's one coming up that's more of an abstract, and I liked it a lot better than this. It led to some good juxtapositions with the vinyls when they're like bright yellow or blue. That's neat, I guess, but like, this is, you could put this in the easy listening section and it would fit right in. And it's a bummer.
Exactly. Yeah. I like the name of the album, Minutes to Midnight, with the Doomsday Clock going to midnight. Like, awesome concept, very cool name. But yeah, the artwork is, a dud.
Kind of a wet fart.
Yeah.
My placement of this, and you might disagree. Actually, let me think about this.
You're not going to have a below Collision Course, are you?
I was thinking about it for half a sec, but the highs are so high. I have to give the nod to Minutes to Midnight.
Yeah, there's nothing on Collision Course that's as good as like Giving Up, No More Sorrow.
Yeah, that if not for those, this would be maybe my least favorite Linkin Park album.
Maybe we should have prefaced this video to that you and me, we like, on average, we like all different kinds of music, but on average, we're into a little bit heavier. Like we both are into like
me more than you,
and stuff.
But also yes.
Yeah. So we're coming from it from that perspective, where someone who likes pop music who gets into Linkin Park would probably have a completely flipped list from us.
I can respect a good. So I just said Shadow of the Day. I would have kept, but with the theme of like coming in with Giving Up and what they have done beforehand in Meteora, even not even talking about Collision Course, Meteora, not even talking about QWERTY, just Meteora, the main thing that everyone's listening to before this, and then just to pull out the rug with leave out all the rest. For me,
so you really had a problem with the track order.
Big time, but there's no fixing it without removing some of those, honestly, because you can't just front load it with heavy and then do the back half is like, because that's two different albums and that's not great. I get why they did it.
Right.
You don't have to do this many of those. You don't.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, like I took the what I liked from the album and then those unreleased tracks that are absolute bangers and made one hell of an album.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think that fits below Meteora for now. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see once we get through.
So I think we've been in agreement pretty much up till now.
Yeah.
Where now I think is where our differences will start to show a little more.
We'll see. I actually think it's the next. Oh, you said not to do this one. We'll skip that. There it is.
Yeah, they released songs from an underground. So Linkin Park's fan club they would release little EPs to the fan club each year and had some good songs on there. And so eventually they put like the good ones on a list and called Songs from the Underground and released it to the general public. And there's some good tracks on there if you want to check it out.
Yeah. The next major release though, 1,000 Suns.
1,000 Suns. So how do you feel, Joe?
I love 1,000 Suns.
Me too.
It's think 1,000 Suns is among their best.
Agreed.
No.
It's
Wait a minute.
No.
Highs and lows. This is a big highs and lows one for me too. Although there's less lows than there is on Minutes to Midnight for sure. Like for sure. I'm gonna go just down the track list here. Requiem, which is so they did the thing that I really like, which is those like interludes and stuff like that.
Yes, I love that on this album.
Me
All
too.
the interludes on it, little short tracks, love it. So good.
Requiem and the Radiance is 2 interludes, like at the beginning.
Yeah, they started the album with 2 interludes.
Yeah, 2 tracks of it too. Burning in the Skies is a great track. Burning in the Skies is a great soft track and a good lead into the album.
Yes, and that's where Burning in the Skies is what I want Shadow of the Day to be. Like,
Sure,
I don't know
absolutely.
why.
It is a much better Shadow of the Day.
Yeah, it's more unique. It's only Linkin Park could make that song, where Shadow of the Day, I feel like that is a U2 song, basically. It's like a U2 cover song. I love Burning in the Skies. I don't like it as like an opening track. I would have preferred a heavier song to start, but I do really like it.
After the Radiance though, which is
We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed.
Little Robert Oppenheimer before it was cool.
And then Burning in the Skies is just a real good intro to say, hey, this ain't like Minutes to Midnight, man. Because it's a little bit like Minutes to Midnight, I guess.
It's definitely this is like I would call this a concept album.
For sure.
I think it's the only real concept album that Linkin Park has ever made. And I do love that about it. I mean, the whole theme of the album is kind of about like nuclear war and nuclear fallout and that kind of stuff. And I love that whole vibe and name and everything. Yeah.
I think When They Come For Me is an amazing track. Empty Space,
Agreed.
is that just an interlude?
That's
one?
nothing. That's like crickets for like 10 seconds and then into the next song.
It is 18 seconds, you're right. When They Come For Me is fantastic. Robot Boy.
That's the low of the album, in my opinion.
It's one of the lows for me. I think Robot Boy is kind of a... But...
What don't you like about it?
It just doesn't go anywhere, I feel like.
Too poppy. I agree. And so later on like their Linkin Park Underground, like, I don't know, like 11 or something like that, they released a version of it. It's called like the vocal mix or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much better because it has Chester doing some like crazy, I think it might be in the original version too, but it's just mixed so low on the album version where they mix it very loud on this test mix.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much better. And it just made me wonder why they made the decision. Because you're right, it does kind of go nowhere, where at least in this vocal version, Chester kind of goes all out and you're like, Chester's got an amazing performance. So, but yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of a low on the album for me.
So this has maybe my top Chester performance. This album has my top Chester performance. I think Waiting for the End is one of the best rock vocal performances of all time.
Waiting for the End is an amazing. This is probably their most like poppy. It's not really that poppy, but it is a little bit. But I still really fucking love it. I think it's my wife's Megan's favorite Linkin Park song, if I remember correctly.
Waiting for the End. Mm-hmm.
And I remember Mike Shinoda on one of his streams did like a ranking of all the Linkin Park songs, and that ended up being his favorite. And I can see why. It's a great song.
It's great. Yeah.
Music video is awesome.
Ornata del Muerto is a really good instrumental.
Yep, very good instrumental. Like it a lot.
Blackout's good. Wretches and Kings is phenomenal.
I love both those songs. I love them so much. Wretches and Kings, Mario Savio speech quote, one of my favorite revolutionary quote recorded speeches of all time. Absolute banger.
Wisdom and Justice and Love is so fucking good too.
Oh, dude,
it's not even like it's an instrumental essentially, but like the drone by the end of it, it's so like it's Martin Luther King, right? And then just like a it's just good.
It's so good. I mean, Martin Luther King, what more can you say? Absolute banger speech, amazing orator. But I do like how on the song, it like slowly distorts his voice more and more to like by the end, it's like completely destroyed. It's great.
Iridescent is pretty meh for me.
Same, and it's falling back on to me, it's another Shadow of the Day where it's like, what is this YouTube obsession that they had later on? And yeah, it's a very take it or leave it for me.
Which one's
Fallout is just distorted vocals from Burning in the Skies, actually.
Okay. Catalyst is a good track. I really like the Catalyst.
I love the Catalyst. I love the kick drum in it. It's boom, 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 boom. So powerful.
Yeah.
Some of my all-time favorite Linkin Park album or lyrics. God bless everyone. We're broken people living under a loaded gun, and it can't be outfought. It can't be outdone. It can't be outmatched. It can't be outrun. God save us, everyone. Will we burn in the fires of 1,000 suns for the sins of our hand, the sins of our tongue, the sins of our father, the sins of our young? Like, oh, dude, they were spitting. Absolute fucking great.
Yeah, and then talk about a wet fart.
Okay.
I hate the Messenger.
Joe, dude, I wanted to talk about this song with you.
I hate the Messenger.
Right.
Oh, I hate
just
the Messenger.
It's like a cheesy acoustic song?
Not just that. Like, it's the juxtaposition, which can be done well. I just feel like it and not just because it's soft. I want to make that clear. It's not just because it's soft. I like soft songs. I was just talking about how I like Burning in the Skies a lot. And Waiting for the End.
So here's my thing with Messenger.
Yeah.
Because one, I think without a doubt, it doesn't fit on the album. Like it seems like an add-on extra. Like I don't know why. With other albums, they seem like they really like did a decent job. Even Lost, I kind of understand why they didn't put it on Meteora. Like it doesn't really go with the rest of the album, so I get that. So this one, clearly, without a doubt, it doesn't fit the album, so it's kind of weird in that respect.
Yeah.
And I really, really did not like it for a long time until... So I was driving with my wife, Megan. We went, I don't know, somewhere, and we had like a 4-hour drive, and we just made a list of, we made a playlist with songs we both like.
Yeah.
And hearing heavy rock Linkin Park music and then The Messenger, it doesn't really fit. But we were listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac, and she had like John Mayer and stuff on there. And in that context, I saw the song in a completely new way, and I think Chester's vocal performance alone, I think, in my opinion, along with Crawling, it's one of his best vocal performances, especially to end the song. I just think he's so good at putting his emotion into his singing. That's a very hard thing for singers to do. Like, they tend to, make sure they're on note and hitting the right pitch. But to do that and then put your emotion into it is just truly talented. And so I've come around on that song, and I appreciate it now.
I think I like Robot Boy better than The Messenger.
I'll admit the lyrics are a little like, all right.
Shirtless in the quad singing The Messenger.
It does seem like that, right? Like when some guy shows up to a party with his acoustic guitar and he's like, everyone listen to me. Like, it does have that vibe. I'll give you that.
I mean, nothing against Chester's. We've already sung his praises of just one of the greatest vocalists of all times, but like nobody does it like Chester, and that's the only reason like that song is listenable. Anybody else, I feel like I maybe the guy from Pearl Jam could sing that song okay.
I mean, the song is simple as can be. It's 4 chords that every pop song is written with, so it's like nothing really to speak of musically. But Chester's performance is good.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Sorry, go ahead.
It doesn't sully the whole album though. It doesn't like ruin the album for me by any stretch. It's just one of those like they could have ended on the Catalyst and it would have been fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's what's so weird about it. Well, that's the good thing about it, I guess, is if you don't like it, it's on the end of the album. So and Catalyst is kind of a good ending, so you could just not listen to it.
Even on vinyls, that's easy to do. Like, you can't just, it's easier to skip the last song as opposed to like if it's a middle.
Yeah, for sure.
Blackbirds is like whatever, honestly. If I remember Blackbirds right, I barely remember Blackbirds as like their bonus track on there.
Yeah, it was an unreleased track that I liked Blackbirds a lot. They also had, again, on like one of their underground like 13 albums or something, there's a demo called Too Legit. And it's weird. It almost sounds like a late 2015's like pop punk song almost. It barely sounds like Linkin Park, but it's a really cool song. And I'm kind of upset to make it.
What was the 26 letters of the alphabet? When did that come out?
Oh, when was that? That was like on their underground. Everyone should check that out if you've never heard it. It's like an EDM song about 26 letters. They made like a joke album where it was just all joke songs. Yeah, bring it up, see if you can play it. But Megan loves that song. She'll listen to it like unironically. Just like it's like a funny, just EDM song.
In the alphabet.
About how many letters there are. And then they talk about like Bert and Ernie on it. Yeah.
The other day, I was trying to figure out how many letters
was in the alphabet.
It took me all day, but you know I did it. You want to know how many letters there are? 26 letters in the alphabet.
That's great. Like, that's amazing. Put this instead of the messenger.
Honestly, like sound wise, because 1,000 Suns is a very like electronic sounding album, it actually kind of fits better.
Again, the juxtaposition is like interesting, and it's better than a lot of the. Well, I don't know. I think I'd take Shadow of the Day over the Messenger.
I love the whole concept album. I love the short mini tracks. I love how electronic this album is.
Yeah.
It's actually, I think it's like one of their least popular, like least streamed albums, but I fucking love it. And to me, it's towards the top for me. How do you feel about the album art?
I like it a lot. I do have the vinyl. Actually, maybe this was the yellow one.
This one I liked. The one that you're showing on the screen right now, that was the official release, but I liked better their deluxe version. It had the sun was actually, it was white. They flipped the colors, so it's glowing white in the middle and then black. And it's almost also got like a metallic sheen to it. And I liked it so much better. I also, oh God, I don't know if I want to ruin it for everybody, but fuck it. I heard someone refer to this as the butthole album. Now I always think about that when I look at it. And I kind of like the reverse colors because then the sun is, it's like glowing like a sun, which kind of makes more sense for the album name.
It's kind of the shape of New York.
I can see that. I also always kind of saw a bird with like the head in the upper right corner with like the wings. But also, go ahead.
I like the ink blot test of the cover art. I like this better than Menace to Midnight for sure.
Oh, me too. I do really like this album cover for sure, and I think it's one of their better ones out of their later half of their career. And then also they released, I think even at the time, I think it was just had like CDs and like a making of, but they released a whole art book with it. I can't remember the name of the artist who did it, but the whole book has a bunch of cool art that I'm sure you could find somewhere online.
Ranking this is going to be interesting.
Yeah. So
Okay, let's start from the bottom. How about this?
okay.
It's better than Collision Course.
By far.
I think it's better than Minutes to Midnight.
By far, in my opinion. This is where it gets interesting for me.
I think it's better than Meteora.
Me too. So okay, I thought we would disagree on that. I do too. Would you have it above the EP?
Yes. Again, the weakness of the EP is its length.
Yes, I agree.
As we know, the length isn't all that matters. But in terms
Such a
of
girthy album.
it's Hybrid Theory EP is very girthy. So like
Yeah.
that's where it really thrives. I would still put 1,000 Suns over Hybrid Theory EP.
Okay, I can agree with that, but not better than Reanimation.
I don't think I'd put it above Reanimation.
Okay, all right, wow, so we agree. Okay,
Yeah.
I like that spot.
Okay. That does let's just see how that looks just to make sure. It honestly yes. Yeah. Yep.
If Hybrid E3 was a full album, and that's the thing is I probably have listened to Meteora a lot more than 1,000 Suns, but just now in the mid 2020s, I find myself going back to listen to 1,000 Suns more than Meteora.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool. Here we're gonna have disagreements, I think.
Yeah, because I think you told me what your recent thoughts on this, and I actually went back and listened to this today in preparation, and I think I still feel the same way.
Okay, so
I
you're
think of
not a big
NBA
fan of
on TNT when I listened to this album.
this one. Really? Why?
Because "Burn It Down" was one of their like bumper songs
that's
for
right.
a long time,
I forgot about that.
I picture Shaq and Kenny and Charles Barkley talking over that song. I think
I don't. Why don't you like living things too?
let's actually start with the art, because actually I really like the art. I think the art's really cool.
I really like the art as well. Super cool. I like the name Living Things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the track list, because here's my thing about Living Things is it came at a weird part in my life. I was in the middle of an abusive relationship, and I didn't realize it then. And this album was something I listened to a lot when I was at my job, which was cab driving at the time. And I think my attachment to this album is right in the middle of the track list.
That's your favorite part of the album?
Yes. I think Lost in the Echo is an okay opener. I think In My Remains, Burn It Down are two nothing burgers of songs.
I understand why you would say that. I like In My Remains for some reason. That's one of the things I like about this album that I have a hard time describing is I feel like a lot of these songs are fun to sing along to.
Yes, they are. Burn It Down is a fun song to sing along to. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and I feel that same way about In My Remains. I like the like an army falling one by one by one to end the song. I really like that part.
Brad gets his due.
Well, so when this album first came out, I remember you saying that this sounded. How did you word it? You said that like it sounded like if you just made like. I don't know, for lack of, you didn't say this at the time, but it's almost like if AI was told to make a Linkin Park album, like this is what they would make. Like it sounded very just standard.
Formulaic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, very standard Linkin Park to you. Not maybe opposite of the last two, where not a lot of highs and lows. It was just kind of straightforward.
Yep.
And while I felt that way at the time, and to be honest, when this came out, I don't know, I was kind of, I think because of Minutes to Midnight, I was just kind of over Linkin Park at that point, so I didn't really listen to it that much. But now I come back to it a lot. I guess keep going down the track list and we can keep talking.
Lies, Greed, Misery is a good one. I think that's a good political Linkin Park song. And Minutes to Midnight, I will say in its benefit, is it made Linkin Park a little political.
Which I liked. I enjoyed it. And they kind of continue it on 1,000 Suns.
Oh, for sure they do.
And stuff. Yeah. And I do like that when they do that.
Me too. I'll Be Gone. I couldn't tell it. I couldn't tell you what that song sounds like.
Yeah.
And I listened to it today.
It is kind of like In My Remains and Burn It Down, where it's just like, but I do enjoy singing along to it for some reason. But
oh no, okay, I actually do like the song. Yeah. He belts
like
really
the
well
energy
on
of
that
it.
song for sure.
Yeah.
So that's why when I listened to this, I was like the middle, because I'll Be Gone, Castle of Glass, Victimized, and Roads Untraveled are phenomenal tracks.
For me, so I have Roads Untraveled and Powerless are my two low points on the album.
I thought, so this is my just to prove you, I'm not just after the heavy tracks. I do prefer them, I think, but Roads Untraveled I really, really like, because I think that's the one that stuck with me because of when this album came out and in the context of my life at the time. I think that one really hit home. But Victimized is good. Castle of Glass is maybe the best track on the album.
I could understand that. Yeah, it's definitely the most. Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it's the most popular song. Maybe Burn It Down, but between Burn It Down and Castle of Glass, I think both Burn It Down and Castle of Glass are strong singles in my opinion. I do like Castle of Glass has a really dope vibe.
This album, and I think I like the album I'm about to compare it to a lot better, but this album feels like the Slip of the Linkin Park.
Really? Okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
For those who don't know, The Slip is a Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, they Trent banged it out real fast, I think. Is the story
I guess
behind
I could
that?
see that. Yeah, I guess I could see that. I could see that. They're both kind of in their middle of their discography, kind of very standard music for the two of them. Okay,
it's not very risk-takey. This album is certainly not breaking any barriers for them.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
I see a lot of Minutes to Midnight in this, and I think that was part of why I don't love this album, because I think I had high hopes after 1,000 Suns, and again, this is not that, which is a good thing in like looking back on it now, but like at the time I was like, oh, they got like an interesting direction they're going with now, and then we get this kind of by the numbers Linkin Park album that felt like, I don't know, safe.
I could totally see that. Yeah, it is great. Well, that's what it kind of seems like. Minutes to Midnight, they were like trying to figure out who they were, and then like 1,000 Suns, I really like, but was not like that well received. It's not like one of their, it's one of their less popular albums, and so maybe this was kind of like a more return to form, but it doesn't have. While it has the sing along quality that I love about the early days, it doesn't have the like energy guitar riffs that the earlier music had. Yeah, but I do like how it's a little more electronic. To wit,
sure.
You didn't mention my favorite song on the album, and one of my favorite Linkin Park songs all time, Skin to Bone. I fucking love that song.
Really?
Yes, I love Skin to Bone. I love the electronic sound of it. I love it's got that line in there, let tomorrow have its way with the promises we made. I just think that's such a cool fucking line.
The one thing I'll say too that Skin to Bone actually highlights pretty well is, and I'm gonna mention it on a later album, I think it's really impressive how well Mike got better and better at singing on every album. And and here I think it kind of came out in 1,000 Suns more at first. Like that was like his big, like, I'm gonna sing some fucking tracks, dude. I'm not just here to rap. And I think this reiterates that he's just getting better and better every album at singing. And that's hard to do. Singing is hard.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. I actually thought about that. I was going to bring that up when we talk about From Zero. I do think he has gotten progressively better at singing as their career's gone, which is awesome. I also think Rob Borden, the drummer, he got better and better with each album, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have notes about Rob eventually.
Okay, all right. But yeah, I think he got better and better, and that's saying a lot, because I think a lot of bands, they make it big, and so they just kind of party, and they continue to write interesting music, but they kind of rest on it. Whereas, so to become better and better, maybe they become better at the craft of making songs, but not necessarily their instrument. Yeah. So the fact that they were progressing at their instrument is very admirable.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall, and I agree. I actually like Powerless too. I think you mentioned that you thought it was kind of cheesy at first, but you felt like it was a guilty pleasure of yours when we were first talking
No,
about
so it's
this.
actually Roads to Untravel and Powerless are my two least favorite songs.
Oh, I thought
on
you.
the
Oh,
album.
never mind. You don't like Powerless. Okay.
No, The Messenger is the one that I changed my tune on.
Okay.
On the last
I
album.
liked. Okay, then I liked Powerless, even though it's a little corny.
So what are your low point? What are your like least favorite, low points on this album?
So that's that's the hard part
what I
about
like
this for
about
sure. Is like it's the highs aren't very high and the lows aren't very low. And I think
Agreed.
overall that means that it's a pretty okay album, and I think that's where it sits for me still.
And I understand that, and I kind of agree. I'm a little bit different. I love Lies, Greed, Misery, and Skin to Bone, so those two really stand out to me.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you with what you're saying. It is kind of all in the middle, and that's, I guess, why I would have this ranked higher than some other ones is because there aren't really any bad songs to me. So you want to try and do it the same way? We'll just start from the bottom and
Sure.
Okay.
It's better than Collision Course. For
sure.
Yeah, I'm there. And this is where it starts to get difficult for me.
So I like it better than, I think it's significantly better than Minutes to Midnight, in my opinion.
The lows are much better than the lows on Minutes to Midnight. The highs and Minutes to Midnight I think are better than Living Things. I think Bleed It Out is better than any track on Living Things.
See, that's what we just disagree, I guess, about the highs of the. I think I like Skin to Bone better than anything on Minutes to Midnight.
I think Given Up is better than anything on Minutes to Midnight, or on Living Things.
Okay, all right, yeah.
So
this is where we're at the crowd because I think we would both agree. Honestly, to be honest, I probably go back and listen to Living Things more than Meteora nowadays, but I don't think I could ever put it higher.
Okay,
because of what Meteora meant to me.
Okay. Then I'll concede that we'll rank Living Things because you feel strongly about it. I will concede that we put Living Things above Minutes to Midnight.
I get what you're saying too. I mean, I agree with everything. I think the only difference we have is I really like Skin to Bone and Lies, Greed, and Misery for some reason.
I like Lies, Greed, and Misery also. I think Skin to Bone doesn't do. I like the sound of it. I don't know that it sticks out particularly a lot for me.
I'll mention too that I'll Be Gone song on one of those underground albums. They had an unreleased version. It was called Primo I'll Be Gone, I think it was called. And it's 7 minutes and it's I'll Be Gone, but it's got like slow parts, heavy parts. It's like a rock opera song. It's almost more like it's like a Led Zeppelin, like Stairway to Heaven. But I'll Be Gone, Linkin Park. And because it kind of starts quiet and builds up, and I like it so much better than the album version.
The album's 37 minutes. Why don't they just put that one on?
Dude, for real.
Like, were they thinking I'll Be Gone's going to be a big hit single? Like, no, just
make the cool long version. Well, so that goes back to, I wish they were more open to like letting the music ride. It was all very tight, compact, like a rap or pop song, where like everything is like shrunk down to fit in a little 3-minute box. Where I would have liked some, as we'll get into later on Hunting Party, I would have liked some 9-minute Linkin Park songs. I think they would have been good.
Reanimation is an hour long, and I think it's better for it because it really lets those tracks breathe, for better and worse. Because like High Voltage maybe doesn't deserve 4 minutes, but it's still there. I don't know. Give it a chance, like that. Try it, and I think I agree. That's what I love about Reanimation. That's why it's still second.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, now I'm going to be completely honest with you, man.
You didn't listen to it?
I have listened to this album. I think I know. I think 2 songs on here really are it. A Light That Never Comes is pretty good.
Okay, yeah. What's the other one?
A Light That Never Comes, Rick Rubin reboot.
So see, with this, well, I guess change the art thing so people know. So yeah, Recharged. So this was a remix album of Living Things.
This is what they did the remix album for.
Yeah. So dude. So all right. So Light That Never Comes is fine. And then I actually personally, I'm a big Red Omen fans, and he did a remix of Roads Untraveled.
Oh, sure.
So I actually I like his remix better than the original on Living Things. But other than that, I remember because at this time came out, this was like the boom of like EDM music. And because I like electronic music, I really got into that. And I was always like, why is nobody doing EDM with Linkin Park? That would be Linkin Park's already pretty electronic, so they would match really well. They do not match well. They do not match well.
I also I'll do it. I don't think One More Light happens without Recharged.
Oh, really? Why do you say that? That's interesting. Why do you say that?
Because it's like dipping their toes in it. Like, you know what? That actually worked. That worked pretty well, guys. I think we should do that again.
But they're not like...
Pusha T does a track in this.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now, I'm not saying... I just think it's... Who cares?
Yeah, this is like the definition of like nothing.
Yeah.
In that, like...
I think
I never go back and listen to it. I don't even really like when I think of Linkin Park's discography, I never think of this, which is so interesting. Well, that's the thing. It's like I remember when they announced it, I was like, oh hell yeah, the first one since Reanimation. Like Reanimation was so freaking good.
Yep.
Like this will be good, and it just was not. And I was.
It's more like, hey, we gave a bunch of tracks to, or a bunch of like master tracks to a bunch of artists. And we let them do their thing, and then they sent back their track, and that's it. There we go. That's our remix album. Instead of Reanimation really like reinterpreting that entire album as something interesting and cool. Not to say that Hybrid Theory wasn't interesting and cool, but like that's just added to how fucking rad that Reanimation is.
Yeah, and I was like wondering. So I'm like EDM and Linkin Park do not go together well, and I'm like, what is it? And I kind of think it's. You know, the lyrics and the vibe of Linkin Park's music. Like, EDM is kind of party music in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like Linkin Park's vibe. I'm not like, oh yeah, we're going to party and listen to some
Linkin
club,
Park, you know? You're in the club emotional style or whatever.
Right.
Like,
right.
No,
yeah, you're like in a club crying.
Like, I remember liking, I remember liking A Light That Never Comes. I think that's pretty good. I think that should have been on. I mean, maybe it was made after, but like if that could have possibly been on Living Things, that would have been pretty cool. But I think this is such a nothing burger of a thing. I would put this below Collision Course personally.
So would I. Yeah, I would have it at the lowest for sure.
Don't know if that'll be the lowest today, but we'll find out. We will find out. Now. Did we give this enough due? I feel like we did.
Recharged?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. Let's get on to
I want to keep this positive.
This was the way I put Hunting Party. I think this was the album I have been waiting for since I heard QWERTY.
Okay.
I fucking love the Hunting Party. This is maybe my second favorite Linkin Park album. I'm just going to start with that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have trouble ranking this.
And this didn't...
What do you love about it so much?
Heavy! It's heavy!
Yeah.
And it's them... You could tell Chester is really enjoying himself on this album, which I think matters, especially eventually with what happens. But I think the lows on this album aren't that low. Start from the beginning. Keys of the Kingdom is a phenomenal opening track.
Love that song. Yeah, so good.
All for Nothing. I fucking love Helmet. I've been listening to actually Helmet recently. And dude, All for Nothing. I love All for Nothing. Guilty All the Same was like their first single off this, I think. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude.
I love Guilty All the Same. Dude. I love, what is it, Rakim does the rapping on it too. Yeah. Oh, so fucking good. Yeah. I was like,
dude, Linkin Park's back, man. The Summoning's whatever. War's good. War's like just good punk, like.
I love War, dude. Yeah. It is a punk song. It's a punk song, but I love that song.
Wastelands is good. Until It's Gone, I actually really like too. Even though I would say that's one of the weaker ones, I still like Until It's Gone for sure.
That's where you lose the middle. You lose me on the middle of this album a little. Well, okay, I'll talk about it later. Okay. Yeah, keep going down the
Rebellion featuring System of a Down's Darren Malakian. I love it.
Guitar work on that song. Yep. I like the lyrics too about how, because it honestly fits me. Where like, I like to think of myself as like, a revolutionary in that I like go against the grain and stuff and don't follow the herd. But I'm not like a real, I'm not like a real revolutionary figure. So I kind of like that them recognizing that in themselves is kind of a tough thing to recognize. So yeah, cool lyrics, great fucking guitar work.
Mark the Graves and Drawbar, I think, are kind of weak.
That's what I have. Those are my two least favorite songs on the album. To the point with Drawbar. To have Tom fucking Morello on your album. When I found out he was on this album, to say I was excited was an understatement. Like, holy shit.
Fucking Tom Morello, dude. Let's fucking go, man.
Let's fucking go. And then to release that song, I felt like, I got the rug ripped out from under me. I was like, what the fuck was that?
So, and what maybe
we
makes
got Tom Morello. Let's do a soft instrumental.
What maybe makes it hurt more is they have another song on this album that kind of sounds like Tom Morello.
Yeah,
like Wastelands.
Right.
Like, let me get to that. Is it Wastelands, right?
Yeah, you're right. It was like a very rangy riff.
Yeah, and then they have they have Drawbar, which is just, let me go in the middle of it.
Play it, dude. Yeah.
Where are you, Tom?
What? Yes,
Where are you, Tom? Where'd they put you?
I wonder. So, dude, I've tried to analyze what happened. And I think I'm wondering if, because I know like Rage Against the Machine, they would jam for a lot of their songs, where like Linkin Park kind of more put their music together almost like a rap production crew in like pieces and would piece it together rather than just jamming together. They never really did that. So I wonder if Tom Morello was like, hey, let's jam. And so they did.
And they're like, there it is.
And then it was like, yeah.
That's what we got, boys.
Yeah.
Ship it.
So,
that's Tom Morello doing those harmonics.
Right.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
Like finger picking things. Yeah.
That's his fingers.
Yeah. I think that was the most like crashing down I ever was for anything Linkin Park. I was like, what?
I think it had a double take to make sure. This is the one with Tom Morello, right?
Right.
Final Masquerade is kind of like, I feel like Final Masquerade is almost like Powerless to me.
See, I associate it, I think it's a better version of Castle of Glass. I feel like they have like similar vibes, and I just like Final Masquerade better.
I don't. Yeah, I think it's not the worst track on the album. That's for sure.
It's definitely like one of the softer. It's one of the cases. It's like definitely one of the softer songs on the album, but I really like it.
And then I think "Align in the Sand" is maybe in my top 3 favorite Linkin Park songs.
Absolute banger. If you have not listened to the song by Linkin Park, go check it out. In my opinion, it is the best Linkin Park song since their initial Hybrid Theory, Reanimation, Meteora explosion.
Yeah.
Like, again, it's a longer song, and they let the riffs, fucking, and in a way, like I had mentioned, Chester's voice had kind of deteriorated a little bit, but on like this song in War, I think it like fits almost. Like he almost loses it at some points where it gets like scratchy.
It's good, but if they can use that,
well.
If they can use the vocal fray with that, and just like I said, this album feels like Chester is having a lot of fun doing this, and A Line in the Sand feels like, dude, this dude's meant to sing like this. There's a Motorhead track that I really like called Overkill. And there's a part midway through, and if you don't know, Lemmy plays the bass, I believe, in Motorhead, and sings. And there's a part midway through that there's a solo that kicks in, and the backing harmonies with the bass, like, dude, this dude was made to do this type of shit. And I feel that same way with Chester in this song with A Line in the Sand.
Probably, dude, yeah, I can't say it. Like, I can't put into words all the good things I feel about this song. Like, absolute great way to end the album. Awesome vibe, great interplay between Mike and Chester's vocals. The riffs are like heavy, and it's just such a fucking one. Yeah, one of the best Linkin Park songs for sure.
Like, this may be the best track Brad's ever done.
I would definitely, yeah, top 3 for sure. Oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuck, dude.
So fucking good. Yeah, definitely one of their best songs for sure.
So let me ask you, because I've mentioned why I love this album. What are your highs and lows? What are your highs and lows?
Okay, so my drawbar is my drop dead bottom low. Like, what a waste of Tom Morello. Mark the Graves, I also have as kind of a low point. I never, very nothing burger. So here are my lows, because I agree with all the things you like. I agree with, and I love the return to the heavy sound. I love all the guests besides Tom Morello. All the other guests I think are well utilized and very good. For me, there's a few low, one low that's not really a low, but it does kind of irk me. They must have had like their kids in the studio or something, and a lot of the songs, like the endings of the songs, have a little. Like a little kid out of nowhere.
I can pull one of those up, actually.
Yeah, and it like...
I'm not allowed to say certain things.
Yep.
See, like, what is that? It doesn't fit with the vibe of the album. Like, I don't understand.
There's a baseball game, I think, or a t-ball game. Like, it sounds like, run.
And if you want to like put in like One More Light, okay, but it doesn't fit with the album. I'm like, I don't know what this is. It was very weird.
Yeah.
They just wanted to use their kids, I guess. I don't know. Very weird to me. And then, so for me personally, the reason that you're going to want to rank this higher than me, I like electronic in my Linkin Park, and I don't get a lot of it in this album. I think
no, you don't. No.
It's a rock album. It's a straightforward hard rock album. So you don't get a lot of that, and so it's not that I dislike it, but if you're going straightforward rock, there's other bands that I think do it better than Linkin Park does. Mm-hmm. And so because of that, this album has extreme highs for me. So A Line in the Sand, all-time great. Guilty All the Same, I love. War, I love. Final Masquerade. But the other ones, the Until It's Gone, the Wastelands, those, they don't do anything for me. I don't feel any fire with them. So they just kind of fall flat to me in that way. Yeah.
Until It's Gone was a powerful one for me at the time, because this was still when I was dealing with this came out 2 years after, but I was still feeling it from that relationship that I mentioned before. And that was I put myself in I was the its.
Right. Dude, that's part of the reason why everyone loves Linkin Park, is like these lyrics that, are there for you when you have a hard time and you can relate to them. And
I think Until It's Gone is an interesting one, because I do feel like that's one of the more electronic ones too.
That's what's interesting, right? I kind of Wastelands too, which is funny. I don't know.
Wastelands is certainly one of the weaker songs of the ones that I listed.
Maybe what it is a little bit, how I mentioned Living Things has this undescribable sing-along quality to it. I feel like some of the Hunting Party, the lower side, the more deep tracks, don't have that at all.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, Final Masquerade does. It has that.
For sure. Final Masquerade has that. I really like. I don't know why it is. That's one of the. I guess it's like Living Things where I can't really describe, but I do really like that song.
I think. Also, this came out a day after my birthday, so.
Okay.
I remember listening to this a lot when I was driving up to the Dells, and it was cool.
I will say it is one of their only albums. We mentioned with 1,000 Suns, Minutes to Midnight, Living Things. There are some songs that kind of feel out of place within the album. Yeah. Where I feel like this is a good.
Yes.
Everything seems like it fits.
Cohesive.
It's all part of it. Yes. Even Drawbar, it kind of did need a soft instrumental at that point in the album. It just irks me that it was Tom.
If they didn't put featuring Tom Morello on there, would you like that better?
Yes, I would. Honestly, I honestly would. It would have.
I get it. This was a couple years after us seeing Tom Morello with the Street Sweeper Social Club and Boots Riley,
Yes.
the director
Great
of
show.
what was that? Sorry for bothering you, or Sorry to bother you, and that other.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's Boots Riley. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, that show was amazing. Street Sweeper
Yeah,
Social Club's cool as hell.
Yeah, they are. They're cool for many reasons. How do you feel about the album art?
Oh, it's fucking rad, dude. That's fucking cool as hell. I think
like
it's
the whole.
cool. Yeah.
I do. I like the whole bow and arrow theme and like hunting. What I a little and again, this is just when artists are really good. But so on their, I think it was the vinyl came with a bunch of other artwork, and there were other ones that was similar themes, but it was more bloody and gory and animalistic. And I like this one that we're seeing on the screen now. It almost looks like it's a clip out of a BioShock or something. Like
Sure.
it has that kind of animation to it. Where I liked the bloody gore, like Hunting Party. Come on, let's fucking,
I mean,
gut a pig or whatever,
that's where you start getting into like sellability, right? So like the one thing I will knock against it is another Linkin Park album that is black and white or monochrome of like two colors. I mean, it's grayscale, but still, like, I mean, it's essentially just like there's no color. And even Living Things only has like a little red in it. Like I'm looking down the list here. Like last time they had like Reanimation.
Like Reanimation was like the last one that had like some real color to it. That's interesting. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, even going forward, One More Light, same very very minimalistic color scheme, and then From Zero actually has an interesting art.
Some contrast at least.
But anyways, for Hunting Party, I do like the art a lot. It's nowhere near Reanimation or Hybrid Theory for me. I do like the art better than 1,000 Suns.
Yeah, I would agree.
I don't know that I like it as much as Living Things.
I don't like it as much as Living Thing. Dude, I wish if they. I guess that's with a good artist. You can just pick things you like. Having seen the other artwork, I was like, why did you guys choose this one? All this other shit is so much better.
Yeah.
So, but no, it's still good. I still like the whole. It fits with the theme of the album and everything. Dope ass name too. The
Hunting Party is a cool ass name, and they don't do a title track either, which I typically like. Like when they do the titular track of the album, like there's no Meteora song, there's no Hybrid Theory song. I guess they don't really do that, do they?
No. You know it's interesting. Yeah, I guess now that you think about it, they've never had an album.
Yes, they do.
I never thought about that.
Yes, they do. That's what's next. That's the one that's next.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, how could I forget? But what is weird that they do is they keep the demo version name of the song quite often.
Yes, they do, because they say that they said themselves they're terrible at naming songs.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I like, it's funny, like Paper Cut or Points of Authority. Like, I totally think of, when I hear Paper Cut, I think of that song.
Yeah.
But it is interesting. They're one of the only bands I know. Like, I'm even having trouble thinking of one other band that does that. And they tend to do it often, like a few times, like Faint. Faint is another one. It's one of their biggest singles.
Yep.
Never say faint.
Yeah, it's true. Makes people think they do say it in the chorus.
Yeah.
Though I don't see any on here that they would say that, besides maybe Drawbar is probably the working title of that.
Yeah, it's an instrumental. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. I think in Living Things they don't. Well, I guess it was maybe just an earlier thing they would do.
Yeah. No,
I liked it. But...
Yeah, me too. Yeah. This is going to be an interesting one to rank.
So I will definitely. All right. So I think for sure Recharge
better than
Collision
Recharge.
Course Man's Midnight. So I personally have it equal to Living Things. Since you like it significantly better, I'm comfortable putting it ahead of it. You let me put Living Things ahead of Midnight, so I think I can let you put Hunting Party ahead of Living Things.
Yeah.
Is Hunting Party better than Meteora?
No, let me think about that.
So again, it comes back to I have for sure listened to Meteora more than Hunting Party.
Yeah.
However, in 2025 and 2024 and 2023, I go back and listen to Hunting Party more than I do Meteora.
Meteora is a
So
classic album in my ranks. I would say in my eyes.
me too. But you like Hunting Party better than A Thousand Suns, don't you?
I do personally, but I'm saying this is our list. I think
I'm wondering if we should. It almost feels. See, that's the thing is, I listen to Hunting Party and A Thousand Suns more than Meteora, but it almost feels like sacrilege to have Meteora below them.
not A Thousand Suns. I feel pretty good about that still. That still looks right to me. This is one
Should we?
I feel. This isn't final.
Okay.
Let's just see how it looks.
Hunting Party there.
Let's just see how it looks.
I'm fine with it. Dude, there's gonna be so many Linkin Park fans that if they see this, they're gonna be so mad that Meteora is so low. But
I'm also trying not to have that influence because you said like people thought, Meteora was like their favorite going back to it.
yeah.
I love Meteora. I love Hunting Party though. I love Hybrid Theory EP. I love A Thousand Suns. I love Reanimation. No, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah.
It looks fine to me. Like again, Meteora, we listen to it endlessly, and maybe that's part of the problem is I just beat it to death.
If not for Hit the Floor and nobody's listening, it would be higher.
That, and for whatever reason, I just don't find myself going back to listen to it that often.
It's because of the formula of Hybrid Theory that they followed almost to a T. That makes it a little little weaker. Every time you think back to it, you're like, I could listen to Hybrid Theory instead.
That's maybe what it is. I think you had just hit the nail on the head. I think that's exactly what it is. It's like when I want to go back for that sound, why listen to Meteora if you can listen to Hybrid Theory?
the big ones on Meteora are distinctly Meteora. Faint and Breaking the Habit. And even Numb, I would say, is kind of just crawling.
Yeah, it's kind of. I agree. I loved it at the time, but now I'm like, there's better Linkin Park songs.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm comfortable with this list. If you're okay, all
right. Now.
Okay.
All right. I have notes.
Okay. Let's hear them.
Because I listened to this today.
Oh boy. Okay.
And because I don't remember the last time I actually just sat down and listened to this album. Just a heads up, me and Brian don't think very highly of this album. And
no, I'm struck. Go ahead.
Let's just start. Nobody Can Save Me. The first track on the album. It sounds like an early 2000s R&B song. What was Brad up to on this album? What the fuck was he doing? It's a little different context after Chester and what happened to Chester, and I think
so. That's how I feel about the song "One More Light" itself.
Me too.
When I first listened to that, I remember me and Steve were together. My brother Steve were listening to this together for the first time, and I remember during the course of "One More Light," he's like, "Who cares if one more star goes out?" Yeah. I do, and we both started laughing. But now that Chester died and it kind of became the anthem of that whole, it has a special place in my heart.
Me too.
Right,
Yeah. Song just kind of missing a kid's choir in that first one, I felt like.
So you mentioned like early 2000s R&B. That's how this whole album, if you walked into a Hollister in 2002.
Yep.
This is what they were playing. And so I don't understand all the other stuff, Recharged and Collision Course. I don't know, almost makes sense to me in some way. Where like this album, and I love when bands try out new sounds. Too. So like, okay, clearly they were going for some kind of pop thing here. But man, Linkin Park, you are not good at making straightforward pop songs. Like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. I don't understand what they were going for.
Good Goodbye they really like that little high-pitched voice in there, huh?
Yeah.
that haunts this album.
Again, it's like, is this a Kmart commercial? Like
I think Pusha T and Stormzy's raps are okay in that first
Agreed,
Good Goodbye. I think they're okay.
Have you seen this music video?
No.
Dude, if you need a laugh,
Okay.
if you need a laugh, it has Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar in it.
What?
Yes. And it's like he's some kind of monk watching Chester play basketball. And Chester is the best singer and, best male vocalist in my opinion ever. He is so cool and so badass in so many ways. He does not look cool trying to talk about basketball. Okay, yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, I really don't want to be mean because I love them so much. And,
I do have positives.
This is all love.
I'm
sure there's people who like this album.
I do have positives in this, and actually, this next one is a positive because talking to myself, I think might be my second favorite song on the album because it kind of evokes a little bit of Phil Collins and Genesis.
Agreed. Okay, I agree. I agree.
It's not a good Linkin Park song, but in the context of this album, this was a breath of fresh air.
And I felt that way. I really don't like anything on this album, but that's what's so crazy too, is like
nothing.
Most Linkin Park albums, I like majority of it, minus a few tracks here and there, where this one does nothing for me ever. But talking to myself, I remember I was watching one of their concerts and this one was live, and that song, I was like, yeah, actually live, it's not that bad. So, okay. Yeah.
Battle Symphony. This song was when I was like, why isn't this just a Chester Bennington solo album?
Yeah.
Like, why isn't this just him doing a solo album? Like, Mike's on a couple tracks, I get it, drop those. Chester, you do 7 songs that are just 7 of these songs. You can feature Mike, whatever, but like, why is this a Linkin Park album?
That's what I don't get, and I don't like Chester's solo album, Dead by Sunrise, is infinitely better than this album.
But like, you have the freedom to do that. Like, you can just do that. Like,
but I don't even understand. Like, it's not that it's soft or poppy even, because honestly, like, if you took like Leave Out All the Rest, Shadow of the Day, like all those earlier pop songs, I would like it better than this album.
Me too.
Like, I don't.
It's them.
It's like they were trying to make Abercrombie and Fitch music or something. Like, I don't get it.
I'll actually get to it later, but
okay.
He already proved it, but you really do have to hand it for Mike just getting better and better with his vocals.
For sure.
Where the hell is Brad? Also, one more light. Otherwise, hey, get in this closet, Rob, and stay in there.
Yeah.
We got a drum machine now, Rob. Okay. I'm like, no wonder he didn't come back after this, is what I wrote.
Well,
like, I remember that last one, guys. I'm not doing this.
Well, dude, it's funny that you brought that up because where is Brad? Where is Rob? Where is Joe? Like, where are all the other members of the band?
Joe could do a synth at least, and he can do some of the back stuff. I bet you he did. He had a field day with some of this stuff, but like, and maybe the videos. I don't know, but. Heavy,
dude,
which is
when you need a laugh, go check out that music. It is funny.
Heavy, which is I think the big single off this initially. That were the first one.
Yes, and this was one I'm like, okay, this is an okay pop song.
I think Chester and Kiara feed off each other really well.
Agreed.
That's about all I have to say about that one.
If it was on a radio station that was playing Adele and stuff like that, it would be passable.
Okay, 7 was the one I kind of went off. So 7 was Sorry for Now, which I said, listening to this really does make me think I think they were kind of just fighting with their legacy a bit. I think it's crazy to follow the hunting party with this. I'm sure the Warner execs weren't mad about them getting into a way more poppy sound, but it also doesn't make it immune to criticism. And tracks like this, the 7th one with this particular sound on this album, I really think they're punching above their age class in a way I don't think is very good. The opposite side of the spectrum is something like how Blink-182 is still singing about boners. I don't know. I guess I'd prefer this than the same thing over and over, but Linkin Park has always done a good job breaking away from their last album in at least an interesting way. This isn't interesting. This feels safe in a way that is bad. Chester was obviously going through it, and if this was his ultimate way of expressing it, then I think there's something beautiful in this. But this, again, makes me think this should have been a Chester solo album. That song really set me off, apparently.
First of all, well said. I agree 100%. It's interesting how you mentioned how you didn't like how it was like given up and then leave out all the rest. It was kind of the same thing where you had Hunting Party where you're like, fuck yeah. And then this where you're like, oh, like it was like a bad footnote. But it also, what you talked about earlier about the lyrics matching with the music.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to just if this album had never come out and you just handed me these lyrics on a spreadsheet or something and like on a sheet of paper, I'd be like, okay, yeah, those are Linkin Park lyrics. Like that's about right. Mm-hmm. But then because you're right, you could definitely tell, Chester was going through it and they have the normal, woe is me lyrics that Linkin Park has. But then put together with this music is bizarre.
It feels weird. It feels off.
Yeah. It's very, very confusing album.
This feels like a monkey's paw. I want one more Linkin Park album, and then the monkey's paw curled, and then you got this.
What song did you say that made you wrote that?
That was Sorry for Now.
Okay, Sorry for Now, dude. I consider myself a huge Linkin Park fan. If you play, I would not. I don't know what that song sounds like at all.
So I would pull it up, but I don't have this album in my library, so I'm sorry.
And I said, they're amazing artists, and every artist that I can, every artist has a dud, and just in my opinion, this is Linkin Park's, because that's what art is. It's meeting someone else. So like,
sure.
You put it out there, you put yourself out there, hope people like it. They might not. Mm-hmm. This one is just for some reason did not connect.
I have a note for track 8, Halfway Right, which is Merry Christmas. Because at the end they have bells going.
Oh, okay. I was like, did they have a Christmas song?
They had at the end, and then One More Light. I will say this one hurt. Like listening to that again, that one hurt for sure.
Oh yeah, listening to it within the context of Chester's death, and it's so sad. Like it's cheesy to say, but in some ways, their music probably saved lives, and to have the balls to put like you mentioned, like so much of the nu metal music and music at that time was so macho and angry and heavy. So to put yourself out there like that is like so admirable and so respectable. Mm-hmm. And so the fact that he did that with his singing and then with the lyrics and stuff, like, it now that song definitely hits hard.
Yeah. And then I followed up the boom clap bullshit. The Lumineers.
I think I remember this.
The album really should have ended with One More Light. I get the message at the end of like what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, but the impact of the last song, with admittedly the benefit of modern context, is just so much stronger and still positive. Like the One More Light is still positive. It's still like I'm here. And
I'm here. I care about you.
Yeah, and that's nice and that's beautiful. Sharp Edges. Imagine Dragons. It's Imagine Dragons, and man.
Okay, you know what? It kind of just clicked with me because I had always wondered like what were they going for, and now you were right. This is like Imagine Dragons or Lumineers.
Yep.
Like that is what they were going for. I feel like, and they are not good at it.
They're not. They're
not good at that type of music. Oh, I got a question for you. I don't know why. Sharp Edges feels like, I don't know why I feel like Chester wrote that song. Like it seems like a very acoustic-y kind of song written. And I know Chester wrote a lot of songs on acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
What do you like? What is worse to you, The Messenger or Sharp Edges?
Sharp Edges.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I kind of associate them in my head. They're both like, they end the album with like acoustic-y kind of stuff.
I can respect The Messenger's idea, and again, it helps having a juxtaposition like that. This fit right along with just the radio-friendly poppy bullshit that this whole album is, in a way that, like,
it just isn't
man, I
fun
hate to say
to.
it. And maybe I'm being a little reactive here. This kind of tarnished the legacy of Linkin Park a little bit for me. This album, it just felt like, what the fuck are you doing? What happened?
It is their own. Yeah, it is their only, and it's kind of a shame since he died afterwards.
Yeah.
Like if you remove this album, oh, great,
Man.
great his stuff.
Man.
Like no, yeah, right. So like yeah, like if Minutes to Midnight was the worst ever, like that would not be bad at all.
The jump from Guns N' Roses to Chinese Democracy is better. And I like Chinese Democracy, but like you and I
like
are
Chinese Democracy too.
Chinese
Yeah.
Democracy forgivers or
I don't know.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also understand why people fucking hate that. I get it.
It's not a Guns N' Roses album.
No. But I also think it's kind of funny that it is.
Yeah, right.
This isn't funny anymore, though.
How I brought Well, so I told you this too before we started recording how, once Chester died, I never bought One More Light on vinyl, but I have all the other records on vinyl. So after he died, I was like, you know what, screw it, I'll buy it. Just, but just listening to it, I was like, man, this is so bad.
Just picture you sitting in your chair, like gripping the sides of, just like,
just like white knuckling it through just to say I listened to it again. Similar to Collision Course, though, how there was the cool Numb Encore yesterday.
Yep.
There's a cool live performance. They did One More Light on Jimmy Kimmel after Chris Cornell died, and you can tell, Chester's like on the verge of tears, and it's a very good performance. And
that is the best song on the
music.
album, and even out of the context of it, it is a good song. But because of the context, that makes that stand up above the rest of this.
Agreed.
This album. Talking to myself again, it evoked, always a way to my heart is to evoke Phil Collins. That song did it, but that's about the only positives I can say about this album. I think the album art sucks. I think. Yeah,
the album art is terrible. Okay, your kids are playing in the ocean. Like
beautiful.
Great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the old George Carlin joke where it's like nobody else cares about your kids. That's why they're your kids, so you can care about them and we don't have to. And it's
good
like they were like,
I'm gonna go wash my crotch. I'll see you later.
Right. So it's like, I'm happy you love your kids. Of course, that's great. But like, this is nothing. Like this, like a picture of your kids in the sunset. Like, okay,
no,
like fine, but it's not cool, good art. I was also thinking too, because with each album, they have a lot of dope unreleased tracks. And so for this one, I was like, okay, so they had Friendly Fire, which I'm like, is about on par with the rest of the songs on the album, but then you put it on your greatest hits album and ruined your greatest hits with this shitty song.
Yeah, sure, man. Sure, dude. Maybe this album sold really well. Maybe it did, and maybe that's good for them. It did.
Dude, you know what? Now that you say that, I'm gonna go look. I mean, I'm sure. Like I said, we're coming it from our we like our industrial
old Linkin Park heads here.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe there's some pop people who listen to the song, maybe heard Chester's voice. New age, maybe some Gen Alphas who heard Chester's voice for the first time.
And his performance in this is amazing. He is. If you were just listening to this in a vacuum, never hearing Linkin Park before, and you hear his vocals in this, you're like, holy God, this guy has an amazing talent.
Dude, Linkin Park is so fucking popular. One More Light, 442 million streams. Wow, dude, I don't think any Nine Inch Nails song has that many.
I don't think so.
Crazy popular. I mean, maybe Closer, but...
Well, Closer's probably.
I think Closer's actually more popular than Hurt, but
especially because of TikTok.
It's a testament. Yeah, dude, 1, 2, 3, 4 songs on this album have over 100 million streams. Wow. So,
man,
that's what I mean. All this ranking, it's like Mike Shinoda could come up to us and be like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." And I'd be like, "Yes, sir."
Yeah, man. No, I get it.
Yeah.
But also, I don't think he would, because he would respect our opinions, and we are giving. Hey, I said some nice things about One More Light.
Yeah.
And him.
I agree.
Mike Shinoda's a hell of an artist.
Yeah, dude, great.
I think the barbecue and ribs line sucks, but that's about it. I'm gonna put this right where it belongs.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. No further comment needed.
Yep.
It's the only album I'd be like embarrassed if I'm like showing my friends like, I like this.
I'm gonna make you a playlist, and you're like, what about their recent stuff? And like, well,
yeah.
Hunting Party was really good. That's 2014.
Oh God.
Well,
so funny.
and then we come to this one, which is an interesting one.
very interesting. So
I
you start.
yeah. So
Every song on this album is better than every song on One More
Oh,
Life.
1000%. Yes. No disagreement there. I don't think you're wrong in that. Now, instrumentally, I think it was really nice to hear Linkin Park again.
Agreed.
I think hearing Brad on guitars, Mike Shinoda doing his thing, Joe Hahn pushing his little buttons, and Phoenix doing his thing back there was good. I think what's her name? I'm sorry.
Emily Armstrong.
Yeah, I think she is a hell of a singer. I think
she's
she
a very
has
good
an
singer.
amazing rock voice. Like, she is extremely talented, and if not for the weird stuff with Scientology and
Good replacement for if it weren't for all that Scientology weirdness.
a good follow up. I do think this does come into the should this have been Sublime with Rome.
So that is
situation.
my exactly, and it's funny that you brought up Guns N' Roses' Chinese Democracy after this, because that's my exact feeling with this album. Where I know why bands don't, because of money and name recognition and all that. But in my personal opinion, if the main songwriter or an integral piece to where, like, when you think of Guns N' Roses, you think of Slash. Like, when you think of Black Sabbath, you think of Ozzy Osbourne. When you think of Linkin Park, you think of Chester.
Yep.
And so when they're not in the band anymore, no matter what you name it, it just in my head emotionally, I don't think of it as a Linkin. Like, I don't think of this as Linkin Park. And when I listen to it, I'm not like, it's funny because a lot of it is very Linkin Park-y, like the sound structures and everything. But I just it'll like never be like a Linkin Park album. Like someone called this the Mike Shinoda cover band, or like the Mike Shinoda band album or something. And that is what it sounds like to me. It's like, okay, Chester died, Mike Shinoda's making another album. That's what this is, but it's not Linkin Park.
The thing that I will say is I do appreciate them kind of coming out immediately pretty heavy.
Agreed.
I think that's good to be like, okay, yeah, that one more light thing's done, guys. Don't worry, we're not doing that all the time. And that as a Linkin Park fan, that did mean something, and I don't think it was an accident to put Emptiness Machine first.
Which I really like that song. I think it's a good
me too
single.
I like. There's 4 tracks on here I have saved. That being said, I couldn't tell you what any of the other songs sound like. I have Emptiness Machine, Heavy as the Crown, Casualty, and Two-Face.
Okay, we have the exact same list, dude. That's so fucking funny.
Two-Face sounds straight out of like 2000s, and I liked that.
Dude, this is the problem with it being called Linkin Park. So like that Casualty song, I fucking love, but I'm like,
go ahead.
She's a very good singer, but I also am like, man, I wish I could have heard Chester sing
it. So when Emptiness Machine first came out, I remember I was hanging out with Nicole, and I was like, oh shit, a new Linkin Park song, let's check it out. And she was like, you can hear Chester singing this. Like, I can picture it in my head because I've heard so much Chester.
There's actually, dude, if you go on YouTube, there's a bunch of people made AI songs where they replaced Emily's vocals with Chester's.
Oh my God.
Obviously, it's kind of stupid because it doesn't have the emotion of actually having Chester, but I understand the people's urge to make that because I would love to hear Chester sing on some of these songs.
Now, that being said, I also am curious to hear how she does a lot of other Linkin Park songs. Like, hearing her do A Line in the Sand, I bet she does really well. And I think that's a testament to just how good she is of a singer.
I also heard, because there's a cover band of Linkin Park called Hybrid Theory. I think they're from Europe, like Eastern Europe, but they're so popular they play arenas and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And the singer is amazing and sounds very similar to Chester. Maybe the best Chester cover singer I've ever heard. And Mike said that he didn't want to do that, and I agree with him. Like, I don't think you want to make your own band a cover band of what you were. So I understand having Emily and going that different route, and I do appreciate it. But just at my core, it doesn't feel like what makes Linkin Park special, in my opinion, is the combination of Mike's songwriting with with Chester's singing. I like their solo material, but none of it is as strong as them together. And I kind of feel that way about this album, where they sound more like an average alternative rock, not average, but like they sound like an alternative rock band that you hear on the radio. They don't stand above like some of the other Linkin Park material does to me.
And I think there could be on purpose a little bit to not go too crazy, too off the handle, to like kind of find your voice, find your tone, find your, because it's because you didn't bring Rob back. Rob's gone.
Which he's sorely missed, in my opinion. No disrespect to this Colin dude, but I thought Rob was a better drummer. I think he
underrated.
Rob hits
really
harder.
good.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah. So I miss Rob on this album.
That being said, like I think this is a totally okay album. I don't hate it. I don't think there's any song on there that I'm like, this fucking sucks. I think honestly,
I agree.
Part of me, I think it's cool that they picked a woman.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I think that, again, just shows how fucking amazing Chester was, that it's like
exactly
blurring gender is just how fucking talented that dude was.
I agree.
So I again, it feels a little weird to rank this among the Linkin Park ones. And I'm not necessarily jumping there because I wouldn't mind also popping on what was it, the 4 songs I picked? Emptiness Machine was like
Play casual, a little bit Casualty too.
And let me just hear what like
great Mike singing too.
Yeah.
I like the lyrics on this song too.
Yeah, me too. Like that's a good song. That is a good song.
Yeah. Yeah. So good. This is what I kind of missed, like a riff, like a riff bass song.
Yeah,
that is really good. Yeah,
that gets good around the chorus too, with a little bit more of a. Oh, that's what Mike.
That's what Mike does. Mike did a great job singing on this album. He's really got a lot better as a vocalist.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Singing is as someone who, so like I play guitar, but I've been working on my singing lately, and it's a hard because it has an extra level of hardness compared to another instrument, in that when you're like when you're singing, you really need to project yourself, so you're really like letting yourself hang out there. So if you have like any kind of stage fright with like an instrument like a piano, you could kind of cover it, where like you cannot cover it if you're singing.
Yep.
So yeah, singers so talented.
Yep. I think From Zero is better than One More Light.
Oh, for sure. The worst song on From Zero is better than One More Light on One More Light.
Sorry, guys.
And I would have From Zero. I would go back and listen to From Zero before I'd listen to Recharged as well.
Me too.
And Collision Course, honestly.
Me too. This is where I get a little...
So would you have it above Minutes to Midnight?
I do. The highs in From Zero are pretty good. Like, I mean, the like Casualty, Heavy... I feel like I like just as many songs off of From Zero that I do off Minutes to Midnight. But... it almost feels like the thing that should not be.
Yeah. If you really want to, I'll let you put it above Minutes to Midnight, but I'm not.
No, because I'm thinking Given Up. I'm thinking Bleed It Out. I'm thinking
No More Sorrow.
No More Sorrow. Yeah. I'm thinking In Pieces even. Like, no. I think it's important that this was better than those bottom 3 for them. If they're going to continue to make music, I think it's important that they did this and it wasn't a complete disaster.
Absolutely. I mean, if this had been another One More Light, I would have been checked out permanently.
Yeah, I will check out the next Linkin Park album because this album was pretty good.
Yeah, right. Agreed. How you feel about the album art?
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
I like the take on the LP being a little like more. Here, I can.
Blurred.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
get that a little bigger. Whoop.
Yeah. And I like it, like we've been talking about it. Actually, again, it's only two colors, but it does have some color to it, which is nice.
Yeah.
Almost looks like could have been like a Doors album cover or something.
Speaking of which, I forgot that Chester like covered Riders on the Storm.
Yeah, with Santana.
Yeah.
Great song. Yeah,
Yeah.
great cover. He also did a Motley Crue.
Yes.
And he did a very good job singing on that too.
One thing I meant to, and maybe we'll do this if you wanted to rank the extras and B-sides and the rarities, or at least the ones that matter. Brian here asked me to say at his wedding, like 10 years before his wedding, he's like, "Can you, dude, at my wedding, you gotta say the lyrics for Morning After."
Oh, in my self defense, I was very high at the time.
You
but
were.
I do love the Morning After by Chester. I fucking love that song to death. There's a bunch of different versions.
Yeah, I think it was specifically the one during Underworld Evolution. This one.
Yeah, this is my favorite. There's a cool one with just him on acoustic guitar live that's really good, but this is probably my favorite recorded version.
Julian K. The main dude from Julian K follows me on Instagram.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's all I fucking love the Morning After.
Okay.
I love it's just talk about like emotion and lyrics when however he ends the song. Skip to the song, the like last line of it.
This was it. This was the line you wanted me to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's your wedding.
I don't know why I said that. That's where the high part comes in. But I think I was just explaining how much I fucking love this song and those lyrics and stuff. Yeah.
Funny. We mentioned this before while we're going through some of the.
Maybe we could have. Thanks. So many good unreleased. Dude, so good.
Oh, we actually did show that already.
The lyrics in that song are amazing too.
Yeah.
So many good. Maybe we could do like a ranking unreleased Linkin Park songs because there's so many good ones.
Do you have that list over here?
All right, sweet. Yeah, we'll have to do that.
Some other time.
I do want to do some of the other artists. We like their albums, but when we get to dissecting them even more, talking about individual songs would be fun.
For those not necessarily watching, here's the rankings official, starting from the bottom.
Yeah.
One More Light, bringing in number 12. 11, Recharged, the remix album for Living Things. Number 10, Collision Course, featuring Jay-Z. Number 9, From Zero. Number 8, Minutes to Midnight. Number 7, Living Things. Number 6, Meteora. Number 5, The Hunting Party. Number 4, Hybrid Theory EP. Number 3, 1,000 Suns. Number 2, Reanimation. And number 1, Hybrid Theory.
The OG. I like it. I'm happy with our list.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about that.
We actually agreed a lot more than I thought.
Yeah, the hardest one I think for me was seeing Meteora drop so much, but looking at this, I still feel like that's the right call. Top half.
That's the only top half. That's the only one I know. Like if other Linkin Park fans look at this, they'll probably rip us for that. But it's just how I feel. I just go back and listen to Hunting Party and Thousand Suns Hybrid Theory more often, or the EP. I just listen to it more than Meteora, so it is what it is. You just like what you like at the end of the day. That's why it's all opinions and it's all in fun. And I think we should thank Linkin Park for making so much fucking good art over the year.
Put QWERTY on Meteora, then it's a different story.
Yeah. Dude, that's what that gave me an idea. I'm gonna put like a Line in the Sand, QWERTY, that Primo I'll Be Gone version, like all their like longer rock songs. That'd be a good album in and of itself.
Put Dedicated on Meteora. That would have fit okay.
I put it with Hybrid Theory EP. Yeah. Because it's like very rap based. It's from the same year, so it's well in there.
Lockjaw, that's okay. Whatever. Isho Ni, that's the one they did for the Japan relief. State of the Art.
Oh yeah, Not Alone. I forgot about that. That's right. Yeah.
Cross Off, fantastic. Chester featured on a Mark Morton album. System. I know that we talked about System from the. By the way, one of the best curated soundtracks of all time is, and
Queen of the Damned.
That's a terrible movie. It's a terrible
but the
movie.
Soundtrack is amazing.
It's very good. It's up there with like Scream 1.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that song. What was that song called that Chester did with the DJ from Limp Bizkit?
I believe it is called actually.
Well, I think it never got an official name because
Cry to Yourself or State. The album was going to be called State of the Art. Cry to Yourself,
Yeah,
I think
that's
is what the
right.
name of that track is, and it's very
great.
good.
Sounds like an early Linkin Park song. Check that out if you haven't. Great song.
Walking Dead.
Yep. Walking Dead with DJ Lethal or no?
DJ Z Trip.
DJ Z Trip. That was a good song. Well, there was another. Oh, Chester did a song with another band. It was called Karma Killer.
Yep.
Was
that
another
is Cyclefly.
Cyclefly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's another some vocal performance and song and things.
The official very
rankings.
real rankings. The only one that matters. There we go. Well, Brian, thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. I look forward to doing this again.
This was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I think you might differ some more on Nine Inch Nails whenever we get around to that.
That's what I'm saying. I was very surprised. We actually agreed. Even the things we like disagreed on with this list, I like fully understood where you were coming from. So yeah, maybe I think it sounds like maybe we'll do Nine Inch Nails next. But yeah, maybe it'll be a little more contentious.
Or Metallica could be contentious if we ever did Metallica.
Yeah. Oh, I'm down to do Metallica. We both like Metallica.
Give a fool, give a five, give a gabba dooba da.
Well, we're gonna piss everyone off because I genuinely like Saint Anger, so we'll I'm sure we'll piss people off.
I also enjoy several tracks from Saint Anger. I don't know that I love the entire album, but I do enjoy several tracks from Saint Anger.
Yeah,
more than other people. Although I remember, this is an aside. I remember somebody, our former manager at Barnes Noble, his name was Ed. He hated Saint Anger, and then he came around being like, it's actually like a really strong album. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I just that drum though.
It is, and honestly, on some songs the drum is okay, but on others it's like, what are you doing?
Dong 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 dong.
Yeah. It's like they couldn't find his real drums, so they just like found the closest ones they could use. Yeah.
The mic's too close. Well, whatever. One take.
Yeah. This was fun. Yeah, surprisingly, 30 years of friendship. It's still fun to sit down and talk about music.
Yeah, we could. 3 hours flew by. Honestly, the fact that 3 hours crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, hope to have you back sometime soon. This will probably go up at some point. I might do some cleanup on the audio a little bit, but otherwise, or I might wait till we do maybe like another one so I can have a couple to put up. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Cool.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks, Brian, again for sitting in on chatting Linkin Park.
Let us know your list too. If you listen to this, it'd be fun to see where you put Meteora.
You fucking idiots.
Yeah. Dude, it would happen if we got enough views.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Later.